only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
almost Mr. Q.
Sorry, I was taking a picture of my logger.
You're sociing because there's a social media contest tonight.
Yes.
And, of course, the demented and fermented.
Wayne Baker.
That guy right there. So the social media contest is an internal thing. I apologize to the internet listeners that are out there. We have to out-soch each other because we have returned to Royersford, Pennsylvania at, of course, Stickman Brews. Woo. And I really feel like this is like the home away from home for us now at this point, because we've been here like 4 times within the past year recording, and God knows how many times just to drink. But that means we have the man himself,
Ethan Buckman.
and, of course,
Kate Sorrento.
guys, thank you so much for joining us at the table and having us out here.
And rumor has it we're actually going to have both Buckmans
Buckmans.
at the table together on the podcast for the first time ever.
Yeah, Jim is on his way. He was working on some home improvement stuff, but he'll be here.
That was terrible. I'm sorry. That was not good.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to...
I don't really understand what just happened. Were you being Scooby-Doo?
No.
No, home improvement.
Tim
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Wow.
Jeez.
Of all people, I kind of assumed you would get that.
Well, you kind of sounded like Scooby-Doo.
Okay. Now I know. When I want to do a Scooby-Doo, I'll just do Tim Allen. Ruh-roh. There's a lot that's going to happen. As if you haven't listened to the previous Stickman episodes that we've had, you are in for a treat. Go back and listen to those, and you'll understand why this is probably going to be like a 9-hour episode. And especially now that the forces that are the Buckmen will unite. But I feel like we need to just...
United.
We just
Is it too late to change the name of the brewery? Give me Buckmen United.
The Buckmen United.
Buckmen United Brewery.
Sounds like an English soccer team.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, right? Yeah.
Nice. You could sell jerseys.
You could. Ooh, that would work. That would work.
You can sell them on the internet.
You could.
Speaking of the internet,
exactly.
You can find Beer Busters on the internet.
We're going to keep plowing and going right through this on the Instagram and the Twitter at Beer Busters.
BeerBustersPodcast.com.
Of course, and on Facebook,
Beer Busters
just Beer Busters Podcast. And don't forget that phone number.
Patreon.com/BeerBusters.
Don't forget Patreon. Yes, we appreciate and love all our patrons.
Yes.
And we would love to see more of you sign up.
Where you get all sorts of bonus material, including Last Call. Which, if history repeats itself, is going to be a real treat. Because we're at Stickman. But, of course, don't forget that phone number, too. 805-991-BEER, which is 805-991-2337.
The only part of our phone number I know.
Yes. That's the only part you need to know. But we do have a sipping beer.
I know the 911 part.
It's more than just a sipping beer.
What is it, then?
It's the best beer here. Besides the Pilsner. The best beer you make is the Pilsner. This is the second best beer you make.
I agree. This is Bucktown Lager.
Woo!
Which is our new house lager for our new partnership.
Breaking news.
At the time of recording, the licensing situation is still being worked out, but at the time of release, we will be fully licensed and operating in Tony Joe's.
Yay! Tony Joe's, which is in Bucktown,
Pennsylvania. The Buckmans come to Bucktown.
Yes, Bucktown Lager.
Are you going to have like an inaugural event, like a party, and call it the Buckmans come to Bucktown?
I think that we're going to do something later in the summer, but you'll have to stay tuned for that.
Can you do a firkin or a special release that's called Buck You?
I like it.
See if the TTB let you go with that one.
That should be
we don't have to go with
TTB.
No, we don't, because we do everything. We only sell on premise to non-licensees, so you kind of you don't have to deal with the TTB.
Yeah, it's a little
we still
loose.
have to pay our taxes, of course, but we don't have to
kind of off the grid.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Do it.
It makes my life a lot easier.
I expect to see Buck You at some point in the near future.
Make it a Rauch beer, please.
Of course, it has to be smoky.
Please.
I like making my car payments on time too much to brew another smoked beer.
But if it's just a firkin.
Yeah, well, how am I going to brew? I don't really have the setup to brew 5 gallons of anything.
You don't have a homebrew system?
No, I can ask Brendan to bring his in.
Come to my. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Because I haven't brewed beer in my home in probably 5 years. Like
that's actually not as long as I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. Because, well, for a while I was still like selling my home. Like the entire period of time I lived in Pittsburgh, I was still selling homemade alcohol while I was working for a brewery. So.
And we're off.
Whatever it takes to get by.
What's the statute of limitations on that?
I don't know. I mean, they can't prove it in court. I'll say, like, you don't have any evidence to prove it.
Except this
If you-
conversation.
If you were to, yeah, but this is circumstantial. If you were to bring me to trial, you would not be able to convict me. I'll tell you every detail of what happened. There's no evidence of it. I'll tell you about the liquor stills, everything.
Oh,
You
my
can't-
God.
You couldn't convict. You couldn't convict.
Did we just accidentally become an accessory to a crime?
No, you didn't, because it's not a convictable offense. You won't be able to find a jury of my peers would not find me guilty for all of the illegal moonshine that I made. It wouldn't happen. It won't happen.
Oh, this is going to be an awesome episode.
If you can't find the shit, you must acquit.
That's right. That's
you
right.
go.
Jesus Christ. All right. There's been a lot that's happened since the last time that we talked about news. On
Yeah,
the
there
show,
is.
at least. Yeah.
First of all, fucking green flash.
I know,
Holy
right?
fuck.
Wait, didn't that just happen
It's
today?
like you looked at my computer
I know.
screen.
Well, I kind of assumed that was going to be your top story.
Like the dominoes just kept falling and falling until
Yeah.
all of a sudden, sayonara.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit.
as an article-
Alpine, green flash.
Yep, as an article on the Full Pint reads, as a conclusion to Green Flash Brewing ending their national expansion strategy, closing Virginia Beach and Cellar 3, we've just learned that Green Flash Brewing, Inc.'s largest shareholder, Comerica Bank, has foreclosed on its loans due to outstanding debt and poor business health, and that Green Flash and Alpine assets have been sold to a risk management company in Michigan named WCIPA LLC.
IPA is a
Yeah, exactly. Still trying to learn more about the company, which at this point there still are not many details. And the official memo that came from Green Flash president and CEO Mike Hinckley, which went to over 100 shareholders, says, Dear GFBC Inc. shareholders, on behalf of myself and the board of directors of GFBC Inc., quote, the company, I'm truly sorry to report that the company's senior lender, Comerica Bank, has foreclosed on its loans and sold the assets of the company, other than the Virginia Beach Brewery, to WCIPA LLC through a foreclosure sale, which closed on March 30th, 2018. As such, the company no longer owns the Green Flash and Alpine businesses. Comerica Bank is currently conducting a separate process to sell the Virginia Beach Brewery. After a general slowdown in the craft beer industry, coupled with intense competition and a slowdown of our business, we could not service the debt that we took on to build the Virginia Beach Brewery, and in early 2018, the company defaulted on its loans with Comerica. While we took substantial efforts to recapitalize the company over the past several months, both before and after the bank default, we were ultimately unable to close a transaction. While the Green Flash and Alpine brands will continue, they will do so under new ownership, and GFBC Inc. and Alpine Beer Company Inc. will be wound down and dissolved. I sincerely thank you for your support over the years. So there have been a couple of updates to the article. There's a little bit more information about the new LLC that's there, and they have kept Mike Hinckley on as an officer, so at least he gets to stay involved a little bit.
So the brand will continue, minus the Alpine and Cellar 3 brands. They're done. But
Well,
the
It
green,
said Alpine will continue as
Alpine
well.
will
So
continue?
it seems like the new...
Sorry, it was too long. I stopped listening.
I figured that was the case.
It was, so the way I understand it is that, like, those brands as, like, an intangible intellectual thing will still exist.
Right, but
the
under somebody
companies
else's ownership.
behind them as they exist
Yeah.
now will be gone. And somebody else will own those names and could do whatever they want.
So it would
with
be
them.
like if we...
They could start releasing, like, energy drinks and call them
Yeah,
So are
if-
they?
Cellar 3 energy drink.
Do you think, maybe you would know this, do you think they'll continue releasing the same beers that we've known and loved as Green Flash
I mean,
beers?
I'm really disappointed because I love that double stout they make. I don't know, man. I have no idea how like large companies operate. The biggest brewery I ever worked for was Mustang, and they did like 7,000 barrels a year. So I really don't. Once you start talking about foreclosing on loans and like shareholders, I'm kind of lost. I don't know. I mean, if it was me and I had to, like, a bank decided they no longer wanted to service my debt because my business wasn't healthy, probably my first instinct would be to make new beers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, my first instinct would be like, maybe grandma was right and I'll go back to college. My second instinct would be make new beers.
But their beers are really good. So is it the beers, or just is it their approach to the market, or their branding, or...
Well, I
So
think
you
it goes
know,
to show that it doesn't. I think it goes to show that even if you make really good beers in the market today, other things can still bring you down.
Yeah,
Well, true.
I would even twist that a little bit, it just doesn't matter if you make good beer or not. I mean, that's kind of a defeatist attitude, but I know we talk about this a lot off of the microphones, but the quality of the beer is unfortunately no longer necessarily relevant in craft beer sales, despite what a lot of consumers will insist. I mean, the fact of the matter is, in a lot of situations, it has a lot more to do with market perception and stuff. And Green Flash was viewed as like a West Coast IPA company, which is what they were. And West Coast IPAs are no longer acceptable to drink on the internet. So,
I just had one the other day and it was really good.
Oh yeah, they make awesome stuff. I mean, it's not like they make bad beer, but they don't make beer that the current market is gonna, because the whole market is so driven by so many other things.
Yeah. Do you think that the expansion had anything to do with it? Because I feel like it was like a $20 million expansion to get Virginia
open. Have you
open.
seen that place?
Oh,
massive.
Yeah, huge.
I'm sure that it did. I mean, Kate knows more about like businessy stuff than I do, so she might have a better idea. But, like,
was that the nicest thing he's ever said about you?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But probably
recorded for posterity.
I'm assuming, like, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of money, man.
I would think if nothing else, it kind of like the fall of the Soviet Union. It's a very weird analogy to make, but I think it would be like that project would be the thing that exposed other issues that may have been already going on, and that made the whole thing, fall apart. That might have been the straw that broke the Berlin Wall, or whatever my metaphor was.
And they might have taken on all that debt on some wild speculation that they were going to have all this increase in sales.
Yeah.
And I think, as any brewery knows, you have to contain your costs, and if you don't, and you don't meet the sales that you're projecting, you can't pay your bills.
And that makes me nervous about some of my very favorite local breweries that I feel like are just expanding. Like, look at Sly Fox, how they're just expanding and keep building new properties, and even Victory. And I these are breweries that have made me fall in love with craft beer, and I've been faithfully drinking their beer for so many years. But I look at Smutty Nose, and I look at Green Flash, and I look at all these other places, and I'm like, are they growing too big too fast? Like, is this the way to really grow your brand? Like, and I don't know what the answer is.
Victory and Sly Fox, at least, I can tell you, like, what are they doing? They're opening another pub, right? So that makes them
Sly Fox, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes them have 3 pubs. So they have their main production facility with a pub in it, which that's just gravy because you've already got the big building. Then they've got the original pub in Phoenixville.
Right.
And then they're opening a 3rd pub. I know a lot of people have said that's really fast expansion, but I feel like that is going to be a lower cost burden.
That's
right?
And it's not like they're building a brand new production facility in California.
Right, somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, they're serving their local market in another location.
And that's to me, that's really smart. Victory is blowing up, and they're focusing on wholesale, which, because they've already got the foot in the door, I don't think that new breweries are able to enter the wholesale market to that level anymore. But the way the market is going, especially in this part of the country, especially on the East Coast, especially in Pennsylvania, is that wholesale is kind of dying. As more breweries start doing the things that we do with retail spaces and cans and all that kind of stuff, people get less interested in local beer outside of the brewery, and you see the evidence of that in a lot of the really popular craft beer bars that have been forever. The institutions have less and less local stuff on tap because less and less local brewers are both because less local brewers are offering less wholesale, but also because they are realizing that they're no longer suffering economic consequences for not having local beer on tap, and so they're going with what's cheaper. And the reason they're not suffering economic consequences is because that portion of the beer market that was really vocal about having local stuff on tap now just goes to the breweries.
Now, what about Yards, who just brewed their very last batch at the Delaware Avenue location, who just built this huge, gorgeous new spot?
I haven't been there yet, but I heard it's lit.
It's great. I was there a couple months ago. It was awesome.
But are they going to be able to sustain that? Because they are a big. They distribute.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. The problem is I don't really know. I just don't know. I mean, all that. Here's what I know. I know that wholesale.
I don't know, but here's what I know.
Wholesaling makes you because the problem is I don't really have the insight on what these guys are doing. I'm probably at this table the most blind to what's happening in the market. Beer feels like work to me. I drink whiskey at home, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not super up on what is in what store and all that kind of stuff like I used to be. But what I know about Yards is that their brands are kind of ingratiated everywhere, which is a good thing. What I also know about Yards is they're probably super top heavy from all the wholesale. They're probably, like a lot of wholesale companies, they've got a much larger payroll than a lot of other breweries because salespeople are more expensive than brewers are. And, so I don't know. But Yards, their tap room is packed every time I drive
for
by
sure.
it.
I feel like Yards also doesn't distribute as many beers as other companies do.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
What? What? Pale Ale, IPA.
Oh my god, their entire
Brawler,
tavern
Tavern
series
Ale.
is all in bottles. Like
I
This
never
is
see
on-
that out.
oh my
and about.
gosh, yeah,
I
they even do a
never
mix
see it.
pack of it.
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of their brands
they
are
must
are
sell
distributed.
some of that stuff like in Jersey and not, or like predominantly in Jersey.
Yeah.
Though. Like a lot of this, the tavern stuff, I always see it when I go home to visit my mom, but I never see it around.
They always
the
have it at
city.
Wegmans.
Really?
No Wegmans in South Philly, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've never been. I haven't been.
They don't sell
inside
it
of-
at Acme.
Yeah,
They
All
don't.
right.
They have IPA. They have Brawler. I've seen there, and just like the basic.
Don't worry, Dan.
Bro,
Which
Brawler.
Acme are you talking
Brawler.
about?
You're
the
Acme.
Acme Passyunk, Oregon.
They're
yeah.
selling beer there now.
Yeah, they've been
Dude,
for
it's
a
like
while.
3 years now.
Wait, really?
They don't have a huge selection, but they
Clearly
have
he
a
doesn't
couple of
listen to our
good things.
podcast.
Most of my.
Yeah, you didn't know we're sponsored by
Acme.
Acme?
I wish.
Most of
Hashtag
my
not a
food
sponsor.
comes from like the
Sonic.
Grubhub, you know.
Or Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't even
understandable.
go to Acme anymore.
No.
Ever since
Aldi.
we discovered Aldi.
Aldi sells beers in some stores.
Yeah, but not the one we go to.
I've been. We were at one in Cleveland.
But Dan,
And
we
they
will be
had
getting
their
away.
wine.
Gentrification is coming, and there will be a Wegmans in South Philly.
But
in the
here's
next 10
my
years.
concern, and I feel like I am part of the problem because
We won't be there in 10 years.
you know, when I come in here, I say, "What do you have on that I've never had?"
Yeah.
I still have this problem that I have to drink every beer, and I always want to drink what I've never had before. So, like Yards, I mean, I pretty much had their portfolio, and I love much of their portfolio, but I never order it because I'm like, "Oh, I've had that before." So. And
But that's not a problem for you.
no,
Like,
but it's a problem for Yards, and it
Yeah.
will be a problem for me if it affects
But
Yards.
Or if I can, I'm sorry. So if you've had their portfolio that they distribute, then
no, but
but
I've been to their brewery
you've been
a
there.
fuck ton of times, so I've had a lot of.
So they have other stuff that there. But last time I was there, they had stuff I'd never seen, even at their Delaware Ave location. When I was at the new one, I feel like they're doing more because they now have the room to do it. They're probably doing more to attract people to the brewery while focusing on their main brands.
I mean,
they
that would be
distribute
smarter
them.
then, because as
Right,
we've been
'cause-
saying, that's where the money is right now.
We
Right.
all
Yeah.
want the newest thing
Yeah.
that we have.
Newest of the
Just
new.
brew the same fucking thing and call it something else, and we'll
that
drink it.
would work.
You've
And
done
as
that
Ethan,
before?
That is something
Oh, yeah,
we
we've
do.
never done that.
Oh no, several times.
Like the only reason I'll drink Nugget Nectar every year is because they put the new year on top, so I can get a unique check-in.
Jesus.
I know I am a part of the problem. I have admitted
You
that
are
before.
part of
Yeah.
the problem.
But here's the thing,
But this
though.
is the fourth time I've had your lager.
See, there you
this
go.
Lager, so.
Ringing endorsement.
I think the other side
I love this
of
fucking beer.
the consumer spectrum is like there's people like you that are seeking out new beers, always want to have the new thing, always are willing to drive and wait in line for beers. and
I
all
don't
that
wait
kind
in
of
line anymore.
Well, I know, but you've
That's
been
in my
there and done that.
past.
But you're that
I
kind
have
of
been
beer
there and
drinker.
done that, yes.
But craft beer has become so saturated now that also when you go to some rando's barbecue in the suburbs, they'll probably have a case of Yards rather than a case of Bud.
Here's a fun fact. According to the Brewers Association last year, a full 25% of people under the age of 25 have never tasted a Bud, Miller, or Coors product.
Wow.
I can
Full
believe that.
25%.
Yeah.
Never even tasted it.
Now, are we just talking like named Bud Miller or Coors, or are we talking
Like
subsidiaries?
macro product. Like
Okay.
have only consumed
okay,
craft beer.
but not
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
craft ones that they own.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's a,
So
it's a
you have
double-edged
to-
sword, though,
yeah.
because that saturation is also...
Well, but so what I'm saying is you have to assume that, like, as that market trend continues, the type of consumer that used to reach for the familiar Budweiser product is probably now reaching for the familiar and ubiquitous ESA or whatever it is.
To be
you
fair,
know?
they're also probably being shamed by some of their friends into not drinking Bud Miller or Coors.
well, that's
Peer
exactly
pressure
it.
comes into play.
That's my theory about the proliferation of the New England IPA.
Sorry.
Do we want to go there already?
well, that's all well and good. It's time for a list. You guys want a list?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I
List
got
me.
a list. Here's the order of my list
Can
that
you-
it's in.
Can you guess what the list is?
Oh, is it the top... No, wait.
Did we
You're
already do
almost
that
there.
list?
No,
Oh, we didn't do it yet?
not for this year.
Oh. I know what
well,
it is.
not for 2017.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
but it's like
It was
April
just
already.
released like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
posted it on the Soch.
Yes. Well, we didn't get to talk about it on the actual podcast.
All right, let's do it.
So, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, top 50 craft breweries of 2017. Who wants to take a stab at number 1?
Yingling.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
shit.
obviously.
How about number 2?
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Yep. 3?
Dogfish Head.
No.
Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing really much has changed, which is
Yeah.
kind of upsetting.
Is this top 50 in volume?
Top 50 in volume for sales volume. So, of course, it's number 1 is Yingling. Number 2 is Boston Beer Co. Number 3 is Sierra Nevada. Number 4 is New Belgium. Same from last year. 5 and 6 switched. 5 last year was Gambrinus. This year it is Duvel.
Duvel, which is also Omegang.
Yes. Thank you. So they switched. 7 is still Bell's. Stone was 9 last year, is number 8 this year, which means now here's one. Canarchy came in at number 9.
Who the hell is that?
Is that Oscar
Canard?
Blue?
It's the company that owns Oscar Blues, owns Cigar City, Perrin Brewing, and Wasatch, and Squatters.
Interesting.
Were they all together last year? Isn't
No.
that pretty new? Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty new. So
That's
that was
interesting.
That was one of the bigger changes.
It's
Look at
weird.
me
that,
knowing
like,
shit.
but that kind of throws the whole list into question because if more breweries start getting
Well,
under
Right,
these
if they-
umbrellas,
Where's Victory / Southern Tier?
Victory and Southern Tier.
like
who
I think it should
fall-
be by brand.
Victory and Southern Tier, who fall under Artisanal Brewing Ventures. They're at number 14 this year. They were 13 last year.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'd like to see it
I
by
love
brand,
lists.
like not like
I know,
you know what
but
I mean?
because it falls under one equity group now.
And
Yeah.
where is Stickman on the list?
51 just missed.
Just there.
Just missed.
1,725.
I don't want to talk about volume, and I'll tell you why. Because the Brewers Association determines your dues by how much volume you produce. We make 500 barrels of beer.
Okay, that's respectable.
that 5 gallons we were talking about
Hey,
earlier.
that's respectable. 500 is a good, solid offering. What I did,
Kate's just
You
smiling.
can keep that. You don't have to cut that out. They can't prove it in court. We make 500 barrels.
It's a lot of things you can't prove. in court
we are
about.
implicated in so much right now. What I did find relatively interesting was a local brewery who is pretty much on the list every year, Trogs. Mm-hmm. They were 38 last year. Who wants to guess where they are this year?
35,
25.
Kate?
16,
28.
Steph? Just say a number.
23.
11,
At least you didn't go above 50.
11-4.
11-4. They jumped up to 30. They jumped up 8
okay.
spots in a year. So
Cool.
kudos to them. That's
I
really
like
big.
Trogs. Trogs is great.
And not to rub insult, not to add insult to injury, insult in the wound.
Not to rub insult into the wound. I
Yes.
love these mixed metaphors today. This is great.
Yeah.
That could be the name of this episode. Mixed
Mixed metaphors.
Green
That
Flash.
could be the new name of our
Oh,
podcast.
Green Flash.
Green Flash was number 43 last year.
Oh,
Guess what number they'll be next year?
bum, bum, ba-dum.
Number 0.
Number 0.
Oh, it's kind of a shame.
It is.
Where was another one? There was another one that had like jumped into the top 50 that I didn't see last year. Left Hand was number 44. They stayed the same. Bear Republic is 42 this year, down from number 40 last year. And then like it's all the same players as it was.
Do you have a list of those who fell off the list?
No,
That'd
I
be interesting to see.
tried to look at it and do that, but I didn't have time.
It's a lot of work. I don't blame
It is.
you.
Well, last year's number 50 was BJ's Brewery, which is not on the list at this point.
So here's the thing.
What is a BJ?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a different
We
question because
gotta-
I hear that term
That's-
floated a
that's
lot.
a
and
last
I'm very
call
confused.
conversation.
But I hear about this BJ's Brew House all the time.
Huntington Beach, California.
Where, is that where
There's
they're
some
at?
that are close.
They're like
Well, I guess
California.
that's
There's
where
one
they're
in
based out of.
Allentown. There's
Oh,
one
so
in
it's like a
Lancaster. It's a chain, yeah. They have 3 breweries, which
Huh.
at this point are all on the West Coast, where they actually brew the beer,
Yeah.
and then they send it out to the restaurants.
Is it any good?
No. And the rumor is
They just sell a lot of it.
the rumor is that they're going to build another brewery on the East Coast because there's been a recent growth in the restaurants that are now on, because it was predominantly a West Coast chain, but now it's sort of nationwide.
Well, see, this is kind of my point about how you don't really need. It doesn't need to be good to be successful. Like it's.
Well, and I think it goes back to what
We'll talk about that place off
Yeah.
air.
It goes back to what we were talking about, like that 25% of millennials who have never had, Bud Miller Coors, is that craft beer has become beer.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be good as long as it's not a macro beer. It'll still, you know what I mean?
BJ's does not just serve BJ's beer. They also have
serve
a
HJ's.
list.
Yeah, but
no, they have a list of local craft. Like you can go. I totally missed it.
That was a slow
What's
film.
up, Jim? They also have a list of local. Like you can go and get an Evil Genius beer at
a
the
BJ's.
Lancaster.
And you can get a BJ at an Evil Genius.
Oh my god!
But the
know about
BJ's
that.
beer that they're selling is the beer that's the 50th most sold beer. And
I assume-
last year.
Yeah,
They're
last
not on the
year.
list
They
this year.
fell off the list
But
this year.
it doesn't mean the most sold. It means the volume.
The most produced.
yeah, but that's the same.
But you
thing.
wouldn't produce it if you don't sell
You
it.
only get that. Yeah. You're only. It's only being recorded as being produced because they sold it.
So the volume is what they sold.
Yeah, because you're only reporting really what you package.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
All right, we also have to mention we have a new...
Yes, we have a newcomer at the table,
face of the table.
who is an old friend of the show at this point.
the Buckmen Unite.
That's an interesting distinction. Cut it. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yes.
Jim Buckman is in the house.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
So where we landed is BJ's aren't as popular as they used to be.
What?
You can't prove it in
BJ's
court.
aren't.
Are you talking about like versus Costco?
No,
BJ's
BJ's
beer.
Brew House is that brew pub chain that like apparently makes a lot of beer that nobody's ever seen. They used to be the 50th largest brewery in the country, and now they are not on the list anymore.
Oh wow.
Wayne suggests it's because HJ's are making a comeback, but
Oh,
What's wrong
that's
with
the
people?
comment I missed.
they specialize in old fashions.
Yeah. Bum.
Hey, oh.
We've gone there already.
Yep.
Of course we have. It's
Yep.
Stickman. You can't not.
One final comment I want to make about this story is that I had heard, and I haven't looked over the whole list myself, that once again Pennsylvania is representing pretty hardcore.
Oh, let me try to take
Well-
a look. I
In
should
the
have looked at
top
that.
50.
We have Yingling. Technically, we have Sam Adams.
That's true.
Yeah.
Even though they're
We have
headquartered
Tro Eggs and Victory.
Tro eggs.
Is Yards on the list?
Yards is not on the list.
Ooh, interesting.
yeah, Yards is tiny.
They have a map with it too. I mean, it's pretty much as you'd expect. California, a little bit of like Michigan kind of area, and the Northeast.
We look at maps on podcasts. Dan will describe them to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine the country, and then it's just California in the Northeast, and then like 10 in between.
There's a lot of things that are.
Dan's
described
looking at the
like that.
brewery heat map right now. That is hashtag TAF right now.
That stands for tight as fuck. if
Tight
you're not
as
in-
fuck.
I don't like to curse. I let Ethan do it.
Oh, I don't like to curse.
No. We've had you on the show before.
Wow.
It's different. I was on drugs that time.
Fake news over here.
Yeah, how much rum is in that soda you're drinking?
Oh, forget about the soda. Who wants to guess how many meatballs I just ate from Wawa? That should be
God.
one of
Did you
your
get the
segments.
family? Did you get the
I'm
family
so
size?
sorry.
17.
I'm. Just take a guess.
Was it 16?
It's not 20
increment-
questions. It's just
what-
take one guess on a number.
What
20
increments
meatballs.
do they
20.
come in?
20.
No, it comes in 16. It's a 16 family
No,
size.
I think that one's 15, bro.
Oh, my bad. Did
So
you eat
15?
15 Wawa
30?
meatballs?
no,
No,
45.
It was 16, and he lost one and didn't want to admit
I
it.
left some in my car as not to bring any more shame to my family.
90.
It's 11.
11.
Oh,
That's
all that for 11?
it's not much. Well, how big are they?
They're not even
How
that
big
big.
are the balls
you
that
don't-
you ate?
You don't know how big a Wawa meatball is?
I never get a meatball sandwich there. I always get an
Jesus.
Italian hoagie.
It's like a normal meatball size.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
your
What's normal?
standard.
Normal is subjective.
Like, yeah, kind of like what Steph's doing right now.
Great radio.
Like if you make an okay, you know?
yeah,
The
with your
loop-
fingers, yeah.
Yeah, and
you
then you
go.
make a sphere from that.
Did you make an okay?
I just made an okay. Double
Big
okay.
excuse, they made an okay.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, are there still tracks in front of this train?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's like the Back to the Future 3
Wait, did we do
train.
the news story? Oh, the news story was
Was the list, yeah.
That was the
Yeah,
story.
that was pretty much it. So, Stickman,
We're doing it.
we're doing
Yeah.
it. We're doing it.
So we talked a little bit about it, but talk about this Bucktown location.
So we are in in essentially like a small tap room attached to Tony Joe's House of Great Eats, which is an awesome kind of local restaurant. They have some higher end stuff. They run some specials. They also make sandwiches and cheesesteaks and pizzas and all that kind of stuff. And we're serving beer and selling cans, and you can get our beer in the restaurant. And it's a great time. We're really excited about the partnership. It's our second location and sort of our first, expansion type of move and everything like that. So we're very excited about it.
How many of your beers will be on tap, and how many varieties will be available in cans at that location?
Somewhere between 7 and 8. Occasionally we'll carry a current cider. Shout out to Joe. And then we'll have 4 to 6 cans available at any given time.
Very cool. Is it going to be similar to here where you can walk in, there'll be a cooler, and you grab it and go?
Eventually that's the goal. Right now you'll have to order from the bartender. But probably by the time that this podcast actually goes out, you will probably have a similar...
It'll only be 2 weeks.
Oh, well then no, it won't. It won't be that.
So we usually have longer lead times.
So it'll be...
2 weeks.
It'll be...
a bit after that.
Yeah, you'll have to go. You will
that.
have to go in. You'll see what all's available, but you'll probably have to go up to the bartender and order.
Right.
We're working with a smaller space there, so it's kind of limited, and we want to make sure people are comfortable. So if we have to choose between you being able to enjoy the bar or the takeout thing, we're going to choose the bar on that. But.
Where is Bucktown? I can't think of where it is.
It's like Pottstown?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's part of the postcode. It's like on Route 23.
Yeah. Because I think that the House of Good Eats address is actually Pottstown.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's only like 0.3 of a mile from the intersection of 23 and Route 100.
Okay. I like that. Like you're not like opening your own little brew pub. Like you're expanding it a different way. You're partnering with an already existing thing that's got cool things going on.
Yeah.
And getting your beer out there that way.
And we like those guys. They make
well, it's a good
food.
opportunity for us to partner up, right? Because you think of the plight of the BYOB.
Yeah.
They're small places. They're we typically accept that their food's going to cost more because that's the only way for them to monetize us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're struggling, a lot of them, because it's a tough business if you haven't done it before. And so is beer. And all these guys that are opening up, like we were the wave of them too.
Yeah.
They'll all see. Some of them will do very well and some won't. But
there will be a day of reckoning.
There's a day of reckoning for everything.
Now, this also brings some opportunities for you as well. Like you could do some beer dinners or special events there.
Oh,
since there'll
yeah.
be food.
And we're already kind of talking about that. We have some cool ideas for some like really cool themed beer dinners. We're going to be setting up a real nice outdoor section in the summer. I see you taking that Instagram pic, and I'm going
see, the struggle here,
Kate was smiling so nicely, I had to take the
is that Ethan has to decide between socing and talking.
I'm going to I like
really
the sound
tough.
of my voice more than winning the Instagram contest. But yeah, we do have a bunch of special events planned. Obviously we're going to approach it very differently from the way that we approach the brewery, so we're going to kind of try and give people more of a traditional bar restaurant type of feel there. So a lot of the events that we've been discussing do more to promote that than the stuff that we do at the brewery with the concerts and the yoga and the can release and all the other hipster nonsense that makes it feel like
these
a
kids with the concerts and the yoga and the whatnot.
So you're definitely going to have a Buck U there, right?
Buck U, yeah.
All right, good, good.
We're still working through the list of names from the last podcast.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
There was a
They're
lot.
still over there on the wall.
I'm really looking forward to your what is it? You're semi-erect right now.
How many of the ones from our list have you actually used?
None.
I was going to say, I don't think
Probably
any.
none.
They're all like dick jokes.
Yeah,
which we've already worn out around here. So
yeah,
everyone's
like
tired.
So
of
many
them.
dick jokes.
You should just call a beer "We've worn out the dick jokes."
Yeah.
Should we start a new list?
It's a very stick.
Dick
Probably
jokes,
should, yeah.
no laughing matter.
No, dicks are no laughing matter.
Dicks are no
Here,
laughing
you start
matter.
the list.
There's nothing
Hashtag
funny
men's
about
rights.
penises. Oh man! All right, so I got to write this down. We wore out the dick jokes.
You have to put you can't prove that in court.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
about that one, of course.
Mixed
That's
metaphors.
that's really just kind of like a motto that I live by. That's
Fuck
not
your
really a-
ratings.
Fuck your ratings. Yeah.
Oh my God! I
Let's
wish I
take
could.
that a step further. Fuck your ratings right in the ear.
Wow.
Let's take it a step further.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got 11 fucking meatballs in me that may have pork and beef, bro. I'm taking it up a notch.
11 meatballs. I got
He's
11
got-
meatballs in
he's
me.
got protein dripping out everywhere.
I
He's
just-
ready to fucking go.
Sweating gravy.
You have the meat sweats from 11 meatballs?
Yeah, it felt like it was just Wawa's version of Fogo de Chao. out. But I was the one who kept
Wow.
offering me the meat. It's out of hand.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Sometimes you just really, it's hard to say no. Like, you're like, oh, I already ate 2 meals today, but then you drive by a Wawa and you're like, why not a family-sized Balls, yo? I mean,
And you're like, oh yeah, I remembered. I'm not a giant pussy.
yeah.
Let me get a family-sized bucket of balls.
And then maybe they got 16 things under the heat lamp, too. I'll get them all and then tell my girlfriend I didn't have dinner when I get home.
It's not a problem here.
If you order the dozen wings and you just realize you ate the 7th one, you can't leave 5 for later.
Yeah,
You
that's
just gotta fucking do
ridiculous.
it.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
a stupid number of wings to leave behind.
Stupid.
Hey, you guys, you can order Wawa on Grubhub. Did you know this?
Yeah, you can get Wawa
I may have done
delivery,
that more than
bro.
once.
I feel like that's like a lowest of low.
Yeah, it's not bad,
I did
man.
it not
Like
long
Wawa
ago.
is already, I feel like.
When's
I
the-
mean, I
when
feel
was-
shame when I get dinner at Sheetz or Wawa.
Nah.
Oh, yeah, so-
I feel alive.
And then when you Grubhub it, Wawa?
But Sheet's slogan is like fresh, healthy, better food or something.
How
That's
long
the
has it been
slogan.
since you've been to
Fresh,
Sheetz?
healthy, better food or something.
I mean,
Come to
it's
Sheetz.
fried. It's from a gas station. What's not to like here?
No,
I mean,
I went to
we're
a
splitting
Sheetz.
hairs about
I
health
went to a
shit.
Sheetz once, and I got to tell you, it's all form, no function over there. I'm not going to accept this thing about the Sheetz being the better of the two. Look,
I don't know this whole Sheetz Wawa thing.
because like Wawa's awful. Like that's you have to start with Wawa is terrible, but like
But they're
Sheetz
their
is not
own brand
really,
of
like,
terrible.
Yeah, like it's like a familiar kind of terrible. It's like me and Jim's grandma used to make this terrible chicken soup that tasted like dishwater, but it was like now every time I wash the dishes, I think about like recovering from a cold when I was 3. It's warming. Wawa is like a familiar kind of awful. Sheetz is just like I don't know, man. It's like that melted like cheese food product is in everything, and everything just kind of like feels like it's going to burn your esophagus. I'm not into it.
They have a deep
I
fryer.
feel
That's-
like Sheetz was designed for you if you wear belt buckles.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying.
You're their demographic. at
Interesting.
Sheetz,
I'd never thought of it that way.
right?
I find Wawa and Sheetz to both be fairly comparable.
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
I just think I like Wawa because it's the devil I know.
Yeah,
The
I
couple
could
of
see
times
that.
I've stopped at the Sheetz out near Lidditz, like I've always been a little let down.
Steph?
I'm not even going there.
They have those burritos.
I have had the Sheetz versus Wawa conversation too many times.
They have
Yeah.
those chicken wrap things at the Sheetz where you get 2 of them for $3, which sounds like a deal to me. I always like a chicken wrapped in a tortilla. The shredded cheese was not. The shredded,
like Phineas and Ferb, it's an entire fucking chicken and like a beach blanket size tortilla.
that's what I really want.
That's what he wants. Give him. He's the customer. He's right. Give it to him.
But the shredded cheese was
He's
entirely.
going to give you a poor rating on
the,
Yelp.
the shredded
He's gonna
cheese
give you a
was
1.
entirely unmelted. It was entirely unmelted.
That's
and
unacceptable.
I was incredibly frustrated.
That
with
might be
Sheetz.
somewhat
is
authentic,
unacceptable.
though.
Yeah, I guess that's more. That's like
That's
more.
actually. I think they might have gotten it right.
Yeah, 'cause when
I
they
think if it was all melted and gooey like Taco Bell, that's that fake shit.
Yeah, you're
you know?
right. You're right. Yeah, I think this was going a lot more for the text than the mechs, though. Like it wasn't really.
Hence the belt buckles. The belt buckles.
Yeah. Belt buckles, see?
Yeah.
Right? You
Coming
don't get
back
that at
around
Wawa.
again.
No, you don't push one and order a set of fucking Mott sticks. Like, sorry, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
No,
I'm
it's
getting
usually-
Mott sticks
would
at a
you like
gas
to-
station.
would you-
like,
no, it's
why don't I
usually-
hold on, let me just hook up my colostomy bag first so I can just
I want
really
to let you
enjoy
guys
this
know
place.
that he practiced the colostomy bag joke today. He
I
was
got it
talking-
wrong the first time.
he was talking about colostomy bags when we were canning,
Yeah.
warming up for today.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey.
But they don't.
Got 'em
You
in the
don't order
chamber.
the mozzarella sticks while you're ordering. It's at the end when you hit end order, and then it says pops
Would
up.
you
Would
like
you
to
like to
add-
add mozzarella sticks?
Would you like
Because
to
you
add
didn't order
bacon?
enough calories.
No,
I
I
didn't.
specifically ordered mozzarella sticks from Sheetz. Like, I went in specifically for that after getting gas.
I've gotten the fried sampler, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had the fried.
Just take everything you can and put it in the fryer, and then
That's
just give
the one
me that.
thing for me that Sheetz has over Wawa is a deep fryer.
That's true. Wawa does
Wawa
not deep
has
fry.
better burritos though.
Never got one.
The
Sheetz
Wawa
burritos are
burritos
pretty
are
good.
Burritos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wawa burritos the truth.
It's not. No, that can't be a true statement for starters. And second of all, I don't
They're
prefer
really
eating
good.
Mexican food at fucking gas stations
A
either.
burrito is not Mexican food.
Yeah.
What, a
It's
burrito?
Americanized Mexican food.
Not even
But
Tex-Mex.
there's
It's
something.
gas Mex.
There's something very
It's gas
burrito-esque in all of the countries that we're thinking are represent Mexican food, including Mexico, who are or are not paying for the wall. By
Here
the
we
way,
go. Spring roll. Is a spring roll a
Leave it
burrito?
in.
Discuss.
Is a spring? No, it's spring roll. You can't just take every tube-shaped
it's a
form
fucking
of food.
wonton wrapper, bro.
Jesus Christ! There's daikon in it. For
Can you
fuck's
turn
sake.
this fucking guy's microphone on already?
It's
Burrito and a spring roll.
roll. It's a
How fucking
burrito.
racist are you, bro?
Jesus, because it's deep fried. Oh my
It's
god!
a spring roll,
There's
dude.
no bean component whatsoever.
I was just trying to get on that philosophical train.
Jesus.
Like,
But here's a question:
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a Pop-Tart a ravioli?
Yes.
Yes.
No, what the fuck is going on here?
Could you make a savory Pop-Tart with
Yes.
That's a ravioli, dude.
marinara
That's
sauce in it?
Hold on,
But
hold
can
on.
you make a
ravioli.
ravioli in the toaster?
Can you make the
could
filling
try.
of a Pop-Tart savory? Not can you turn a fucking Pop-Tart into a pasta noodle? Right? We know
that's
that's
not
a
a Pop-Tart.
ravioli. I want a Pop-Tart with that tender flaky crust, and then what about a mincemeat Pop-Tart?
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Right?
Bro, that's a fucking meatball.
It would look like a
ravioli.
fig Newton on cross
No, that's not a ravioli. That's a meat pie.
It would
like-
look
it's
like
like
a
a-
fig Newton, though, as thick as it would be, but it would be meat.
Yeah, it would look like a ravioli, but not be a ravioli.
You're totally altering the structure.
It wouldn't be a fucking ravioli. It's not made out of
It's not
pasta.
pasta.
If you cut it,
You guys act like
if
that's a
you-
minor thing here.
Hold on, but there's dessert ravioli.
Yeah.
With chocolate
If you
inside.
call-
yeah.
Is
if
that
you
pasta?
call-
Still fucking pasta.
Yeah,
If
here's the
you
thing.
call a
Is it, though?
Pop-Tart a
Yeah.
ravioli, that Pop-Tart is an impasta.
That was bad.
Oh man. So
was
what?
bad.
So like, are we what like beer? Are we talking about beer anymore? Are we-
So
I don't even know what beer is anymore.
I feel like we should take a breath just in case there's a cut there. So Ethan, you have a big release coming up tomorrow,
double deuce and double dry hop double deuce.
which are both.
Oh, that's
Double
what the
New
DDH
England
is.
style. Yeah, double dry hop.
Oh,
Now,
Yeah.
if I
I was
can,
trying to figure that out for a half hour earlier.
if he is your customer,
Yeah, he's my favorite because I don't want people to know.
if
don't
I
want
can
people-
recall back to a very early conversation with you,
Yeah.
Here we go.
yeah,
you said that you would never brew IPAs.
yeah, I've said a lot of things in my life.
So
like I
where
did
did your newfound love for
Oh,
IPAs
it's-
come?
all. If you could like plug in right now, some kind of like money themed rap song, that would be the answer. Like Cream,
Cash
or
rules
something.
everything around
yeah,
me.
Cash rules everything around. Like just play that under me while I'm talking right now.
We'd have to pay for it.
Oh, well, don't do it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's like it was customer demand. They wanted the beer. It became very apparent that they wanted the beer really, really bad, and we wanted to sell it to them. So we started making it. I mean, we've since like gotten really into brewing these kind of IPAs. We make a lot of them, but we've gotten really into brewing these IPAs since then. But the reason we started initially was because we realized we needed to sell them. People were demanding them.
So it's like a market response.
Yeah,
pretty
market
much.
response. Yeah.
So how do you still continue your love for brewing while brewing beers that you don't necessarily
And
love?
also sleep at night.
That too.
Sleeping.
On a bed of money.
It's like an existential crisis.
So the sleeping at night
Sorta
is
is.
really easy. I just take a lot of drugs. But the, I mean, I'm not personally a huge fan of the New England IPA style. I don't really think that precludes me from anything. Like being able to brew it and like being into making it. We've kind of started tinkering with techniques to keep it interesting. We've started tinkering with some dry hop techniques, messing with yeast strains to kind of keep it interesting and see how they affect the beer. So we're doing stuff to try and be creative. But there are lots of chefs that don't, that cook things that aren't their favorite foods, and they still take pride in making them. There's a lot of people who make stuff who take pride in making things that they personally themselves wouldn't use or whatever. And that's just kind of where we're at. If it was up to me, we were talking about it off radio, the tap list would be, a third lagers, a third like really weird sours, and half smoked beers, and then I'd be living in a cardboard box. So you gotta balance both of them.
A third, and a half.
Yeah,
Okay.
Math is hard.
a quarter and a half.
That makes more sense.
All right, that works. So what prompted doing another batch of it then? Did it fly off
Double
the
deuce?
Well, yeah.
This is like the fourth batch of double
Is it really?
deuce. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I
You were
missed a
here
lot.
for the first.
And
We
the-
were, right.
And yeah, you were. And then the double dry hopped is like its own thing now. We tried to do it, but yeah, I mean, it's just a very popular beer. It's requested constantly. So we don't want to kind of oversaturate the market with it. We don't really want to. We want it to be a special thing, so we're not brewing it every day. But yeah, the customer response was clear enough that we realized we do have to make this beer semi-frequently.
While we're talking about it, can we drink it?
Sure. Oh man, it's so juicy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
it's like a fresh squeezed glass of orange juice.
So we're pouring a little bit of the DDH, as the kids say. Double dry hop, double deuce.
DDH.
And, man, look how hazy and juicy it is.
Yeah.
It is opaque.
We're just going to start canning orange juice and telling people it's IPAs, and nobody will know.
You should.
Yeah.
You could just you could put like screwdrivers, like vodka and.
We don't
Like
need, you don't even
actual,
need
like,
to put the
Phillips
alcohol.
heads.
You probably
in there.
don't.
You know how
get that whole,
expensive
like,
that would be to
placebo.
actually give people orange juice instead of beer? Be like, say we're going to fill up full cans of Whiteout. It would be worth like $850.
Cans of whiteout. I'm writing that down.
Cans of Whiteout is a good name for a
Cans of
beer.
Whiteout.
That is a good idea.
So here it is.
There it is.
There, it's tasty.
There's
So
some
the magic of
dankness.
podcasts.
There's some dankness in the aroma. It's juicy. It's hazy.
So this
Every
was
word you know you love, Ethan.
this was
Wait.
a juicy haze bomb in its
Why
original
doesn't-
form.
Why doesn't Double Dry Hop Double Deuce have its own Untapped?
It will tomorrow morning. It hasn't been released yet.
Can't you create it right now?
No, Steph.
You're trying to check it in right.
You just got to check it in later.
Just insatiable.
What if I create it?
I think Jim is very disappointed in you this
Who
evening.
creates your Untapped things?
One of them.
It's no different than any other evening.
Yeah, I do.
Everyone settle down.
Can I create it, or will you be mad at me?
If you get it right and everything, then that's
Well, what's the ABV? That's all I need to know.
10.
It is 10.
Is it
straight on?
seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an Imperial New England IPA option on Untapped?
It's a double.
Just a double, yeah.
It's a double. It is the double deuce.
Although it looks different than last time, as somebody pointed out.
Yeah, we
on
get so many
Instagram.
hilarious Instagram comments about this. It's just like,
And the question about us now brewing IPAs, we must get that question at least once a week.
We've been doing it for a while.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so happy to see you're finally brewing IPAs. And we're
It's not like it wasn't even a full year that went by that we didn't do them.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it just was long enough.
Yeah, but we've been open for like 2.5 years now. We probably didn't brew an IPA for like 5 months. And we still
Right.
get comments that are like, "Oh wow, you're brewing IPAs now."
What was the one about? It's about we're finally brewing good.
Oh
brews.
yeah, we got one that somebody said you're finally brewing good beer now. Yeah, DDH Double Deuce. Yeah,
You're just excited to get to check it in now.
And she's the first check-in, so that's got to be
Yay.
lucky.
But this is
Pretty
critical
good.
stuff. Don't fuck around here.
Do I
Yeah.
have to give it 5 stars?
yes.
No, you have to
Yes.
give
Don't rate it at
Can
all.
I give it 0.25 stars?
No, no, because
We
then
actually have done
everybody will
social
check.
experiments about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. If
Oh,
you,
I know.
Whatever,
We've had very lengthy
whatever
one-sided
the
conversations.
first rating of whatever the first rating of the fucking Untapped page is, that's what the average rating of that beer will be.
I'm not rating
because
it.
It's
I
an
don't wanna
app.
be part of your
It is-
social experience.
I'm not going to go on my
I checked
Untapped
it and I didn't
rant
even drink it yet.
as nasty as I would want to be, but.
It smells lovely.
Thank
so
you.
talk
It does
about
smell
your
nice.
dry hopping technique.
So we did a 2-stage dry hop on this. It is just about double the normal amount for Double Deuce, and it's just about the normal amount for Double Deuce. Yeah, that reaction is correct. It is delicious. We dry hopped it first while it was fermenting, and then once fermentation finished, we added the second half of the dry hops, and it's Citra and Hallertau Blanc dry hops, which is not a thing I knew that the average drinker needed to know, but now we insert it into everything because apparently it's vital information.
it smells delicious.
Thank you.
For those of you who may not know, this was originally a collaboration with the guys over at Hopheads Gear. So they're still involved with the releases and all that.
You know, we've kind of taken ownership of the beer, but we use Hopheads for all our branding,
Right.
All our merchandise, all our labels, everything. So we work really closely with them all the time. So we like to think they're a little involved in all the beers.
This is true. Very good answer.
We also use their address when we need drugs shipped from the West Coast.
That's true.
That's probably a very good idea as well.
Whose idea was it then to do the
To ship the drugs from the West Coast?
Well, that too.
Bart. It was Bart's idea.
The double dry hop. Whose idea was that? You, Bart?
That was our idea.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw a lot of people doing it. We've done a couple other beers as like one-offs that have done the double dry hop technique, and it always worked out really well. So we said, why not do our most popular beer?
Do you think, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, about Steph being the problem and how people always want to have something new, always want to have something different, and obviously everybody wants to have dank, juicy, hazy IPAs. Was part of the motivation for doing a double dry hop version, you're doubling down on that hop craze, obviously, but then you're also saying this is something new and different. Was that part of like...
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to keep it fresh. It's a way... For this particular beer, I don't think we need a lot of help with it. Like, it really has a following, but we were kind of getting crazy brewing what felt like the same beer over and over and over again. So we just wanted to do something that was a little different with it.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And admittedly, it's not, the flavor profile is more intense. The aroma is more intense. It's definitely worth trying them both. But it is...
It's like a Coke Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
Almost. Double juice.
The actual work is there was like one extra step. It's not like we really like...
Not hugely different.
We didn't really,
So this is not the only IPA that you have on.
No, it is not.
So how do you keep it interesting and change it up in the brew house when you're making these beers?
We change the restaurants we go to lunch for a lot. Look, I mean, we like that we have these beers. We like that customers are into them. But the reality is, if you go to any brewery that is featuring this particular style, this New England style IPA prominently, they are essentially all brewing a tweaked version of the same beer over and over again and giving it to you in different packages. That's just the reality of it. That's what every New England IPA is. So the fact of the matter is, in the Philly area, there's like 20 prominent breweries that feature prominently mostly these New England IPAs, including one of us. I know when you get other brewers on the show, they spend a lot of time talking with their eyes closed. They use like really ridiculous language to describe the flavor profiles of these beers. The fact of the matter is, you can only make a beer look and taste this exact way a couple kind of ways. And the customers that are really, really, really into the New England IPAs expect a very specific flavor profile from them. So you're not really doing a lot with them. The fact of the matter is, anybody who's living and dying by this style is just doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't care which brewery you are, and I don't care which angry Facebook group is arguing about it. That's just the reality of it.
I gotta say, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me, and I'm kind of surprised when I realize that I like it. But you're right, there's not a whole lot of nuance to the different ones of these, unless like you start adding fruit flavors into it, but then that goes into a totally different category altogether.
Yeah, but even most of the fruit flavors are flavors that are mirrored in the hops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not often finding like exotic fruits in these beers. You're finding like different types of citrus fruit and peaches and different tropical fruits, because those are the flavors that are already in the hops. So like, even when they're doing that, and all of these beers have lactose in them. Some brewers own it, some brewers don't. But the fact of the matter is, you're not throwing 55 pounds of high alpha acid hops into a beer and making it come out tasting sweet without adding sweetener to it.
Right.
So they all add lactose. So even when they add vanilla, it's a vaguely familiar flavor element to what's already there. So even like, I would argue that even the common adjuncts that are used are all just enhancing one of the flavors that already exists in the base style.
Good argument.
And that's what I got to say about that.
Nice.
We're trying to get him to come out of his shell more.
just a little bit. I can see why. Listen, I have to say, I do like this beer. I think it.
I'm glad you do.
It's interesting to see that you can brew something that you are not a huge fan of and still have it turn out.
I wonder
with quality.
Thank you.
If you went back through our podcast catalog, how many episodes ago did we go an entire episode without mentioning or tasting a New England IPA?
Oh, it's been a while.
Probably.
I'm just thinking about that now.
Well, and the thing is, man, like this is my like crazy part of this rant is like every brewer knows that it's easy to make these beers, and they all want to show them off. And it's like, I get why you're trying to sell them to customers, but they all want to talk about them with these like ridiculous, like I know I did that video a while ago about like it's got under and overripe melons and drippy mango and sticky orange and this and that and fresh cut grass from your grandmother's backyard and the perfume of your seventh
grandmother's
grade
drippy mango.
Yeah, and it's just it's just like these ridiculous.
I'm
like,
back.
But it's just got these ridiculous, and it's just like, bro, you took like Simcoe Citra Mosaic and you threw it into an 80% Pilsner or pale malt base with 20% wheat and a couple bags of flaked oats, and then you threw, relative to your batch size, somewhere between 4 and 8% lactose into it. You made sure your mash pH was 4.8. You boiled it for a short amount of time. You whirlpooled it for way too long. All your hops went in 5 minutes or less, and then you dry hopped it between 2 and 6 pounds per barrel, depending on how good you are at your job. And that's all that you did.
And you stuck it in a can that says "Drink Fresh" in big letters on it.
Yeah, and that's all that you did, and that's all that any of us did. So like, it's fine. That's what customers want. So that's what we're going to give them. But the fact that like all these dudes come on all these podcasts and these radio shows and act like they're curing cancer because they made literally the easiest type of beer to make is just stunning. It's just,
I don't know. My Mr. Beer American Light was pretty easy to make.
That's true.
Yeah,
this is about as easy. Like
this is my next style. Then
you should go for it. You should go. What annoys me is, aside from the prevalence of it and the fact that it's easy to make and people act like it's, the best thing since sliced Pilsner or whatever. What annoys me is like you were talking about how they're all the same. Like, beer in general has this huge spectrum of styles.
Yeah.
From one end to the other. And there's so many awesome, amazing things you can try that are so different in so many different ways. These type of hazy IPAs have like this really, really narrow spectrum of what they can be.
Well, but here's the thing, man. It doesn't have to be that way either.
Yeah.
This like base idea lends itself to some really cool things. It could really lend itself well to like some old school German hops really well. I've thought about that. We think it lends itself exceptionally well to farmhouse style yeasts.
Yeah.
The problem is most of these beers seem to be judged more on how much they taste like the other ones than like what is interesting about them, which is like what used to happen in craft beer. And so, I mean, that's the thing is like, I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot or not here, but like I really like making the beer. We're happy to make it. Like we're making it because people want it.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, like, we make a lot of New England style stuff that in a blind tasting fits the profile, but because we say it has farmhouse yeast in it or it has this in it, it's not really, it's rated much poorer. But I'm pretty certain that a lot of those beers in a blind taste, the average consumer wouldn't even really tell the difference from a regular New England IPA. It's like subtle nuance.
Wouldn't it be beneficial to the craft of beer if you introduce someone that strictly says they'll only drink New England IPAs, and then they drink an IPA here and they really like it, and you say, hey, guess what, we tried something new and this has a farmhouse yeast in it, or this is this, and they're like, oh, that's really cool, I need to try more beers that are that way.
We tried that for a very long time,
and it doesn't work.
What I felt like was a long time. I mean, this doesn't need to be a rant about like how upset I am about this. Like, this is what we're doing. And we've kind of settled on this is what we're doing. But no, the fact of the matter is, like, we have tried to approach things like that. And what we find the only thing that really kind of sticks is, like, even if you do something different, just call it an IPA. Because as soon as you admit that it is not a regular IPA, the sales drop off a cliff.
So do you want to try to do something different with something like this then, or do you want to?
Yeah, but I'm doing it right now. I'm just not telling people about it because I don't want the sales to drop.
So this beer,
we're being a little. I mean, I'm being a little cagier than I usually am on the microphone about what we're doing, but we are actively doing different things with a lot of these IPAs. We're just not admitting to it anymore. I mean, that's the bottom line. When you buy it, it'll still be really full-bodied and like kind of sweet. low bitterness and tastes like you want it to taste. But like in the middle, we're doing a lot of different things that add nuance. But honestly, at this point, because of consumer response, we're just really scared to admit it.
Yeah.
Because
Makes sense.
when we don't admit it, people love the beer, and when we do, they say it's terrible. It could be the same beer.
But I don't think there's a problem with that, because a lot of breweries are producing this style of beer, and you do have to do some little things to separate your beer from others and to make people come and want your product over another one.
And that's
so
why
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, and that's
you
why
could
I
almost
think-
look at it
yeah.
as your trade secret.
And that's why I think like store bought is fine, sells so well, because we do some stuff with that beer and we hop it in certain ways that are very different from the norm, and it does have a very different flavor profile, like pretty far out of the New England profile, like on the edge of the New England profile. Even though that's like a tighter edge than a lot of other styles, it's definitely there. And we do a lot of other stuff. We used to tell people what we would do with it, and they hated it. And now we just say it's a regular New England IPA, and everybody loves it. But it's the same beer. We're just,
Now
doing
it's a
some
double IPA.
Now it is
which
a double IPA. We brought the ABV up a little bit, and we made it a double IPA.
It's freaking. It is double deuces now. So this beer is opaque.
Yes,
How fresh
Very much
should someone drink it?
you should drink it pretty fresh. We get an Instagram message about once a month with somebody upset about the quality of the beer because they bought it 8 weeks ago, and they I think that our beers have a better shelf life than the average New England IPA. But if you buy it, you should drink it quickly. You shouldn't let it sit in your fridge for 4 to 6 weeks before you drink it.
I made that mistake once.
Hashtag dumpin' heady.
Yeah. No, it wasn't heady. No.
So Ethan, you got something special for us.
Okay, so I just popped open the last bottle of Freakin' the Sheets in existence.
Yay!
Cheers
to that.
That's awesome.
Prost.
Thank you.
Clinky.
And, they're all doing
Cheers.
it.
Air cheers.
Air cheers.
Yeah, so Freakin' the Sheets. I believe you guys tasted this on the last podcast I did with you.
I believe
guys,
so.
too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It's like over a year old now, and before we bottled, the bottle is over a year old, and before we bottled it, it was 8 months in a white wine barrel with one of our house Brett cultures. It's just kind of cool, funky beer. And I opened it because it was like a good opportunity to talk about like new wave sour production, and you drink like an old style of wild beer. Interesting, the future is now. Yeah.
So why did you keep this bottle around, just to see what would happen after?
I
a
honestly
while?
didn't know that we still had it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You were
We were-
supposed to say I saved it just for you guys.
Oh yeah, I saved it just for you guys.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll edit that so it seems like you meant it.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to open this beer?
So we were literally just talking about sour, like kettle souring, and me and Brendan have started talking about doing this new kettle sour technique. I'm going to go a little into the weeds on brewing technique for a second, but it's like I'm super fascinated by this. So when you do a kettle sour, you're basically trying to create a situation where souring bacteria can grow really, really rapidly for a little while, but nothing else can, because all the other bacteria that would grow in that same scenario typically would make some really unpleasant flavors. You'd get like vomit and things like that. So you don't want that. So
As Wayne writes it down.
so the way that you do that is you get rid of CO2, and in a you also need like really specific temperatures, and in a brewery in the heat exchanger you have a stone that's meant to eject gas.
Careful with the hand gestures.
A stone that's meant to inject gas.
Listen, we're done.
Hold on, I'm back.
I thought we were done talking about HJs.
Yeah, that was
I'm just getting started, guys.
And we were going to use, it's normally hooked up to oxygen, but we were going to hook it up to CO2 to, instead of like what people normally do, which is just like put a blanket of gas on top of the liquid and like hope it sticks, we're going to run it through a heat exchanger. So we're going to run off like a normal brew, but instead of just like letting it cool down in the kettle for several hours, we're going to circulate it through the heat exchanger while injecting CO2 into it, and it's going to be like this super controlled like super clean sour beer as long as we pull it off right. I'm really excited to do it. We're going to brew a Berliner with this technique this coming week, and you guys will be able to drink it like when this podcast comes out.
That sounds pretty awesome.
So what you're saying is I got to come back.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I can do that. I texted you a thing to write down on the list. Write down blanket of gas.
Blanket of gas.
Yeah.
Blanket of gas.
Blanket of gas.
So that's the normal technique.
gas.
The normal technique is you just make some wort and then you put it in the kettle and you don't turn the kettle on and you just kind of like put some CO2 like near the liquid and turn it on and hope for the best. And we're not going to do
actually
that.
Like infusing
We're going to act like fucking
Yeah.
professionals on this one. This is going to be really something.
We're going to act
That
like
should be
fucking
interesting.
professionals.
We owe it to ourselves
Yeah, I would say so.
and to your listeners. too.
Right.
We are always professional
Now
on
you
this
have-
podcast.
Accumulated quite a collection of barrels here.
Yes.
What else is working its way
So we've got like
over there?
We've got 4 beers that we're planning on bottling. We have a cuvee type of thing. We have a spontaneous ale. This sour something or other that Brendan whipped up, and some stuff from a Solera project that we're going to kind of blend the best of. And then, unfortunately, we're going to be suspending the barrel program for a little while.
No.
So, yeah, so we will have to because of the New England fucking IPA.
That's the right response, Steph.
We're revisiting it shortly.
Wait, are you meaning you're going to barrel age the New England IPA? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
we don't have enough time.
Yeah, you should do that.
We don't have enough time to brew the barrel-aged beers because we've been...
Well, that's the part. That's the aging part.
Well,
Put it
but
in there
I still
first and
need,
it ages,
But
and you
here's
brew
the,
other stuff
there's
while it
only
ages.
there's only 7 days in a week. So if I don't have a free day to brew a beer to age it in a barrel, then I don't have a day to.
You were just saying earlier that your work week is down to 50 or 60 hours. Just fucking go
Yeah,
back
but
to
I'm still-
100.
God damn it, Dan! God damn it!
Where's your dedication?
It's not there.
I know.
It's not there. It's no longer there.
Poor Steph looks so sad.
You better
Yeah.
just have something super fucking awesome when you reinstate the barrel.
Oh
program.
yeah, it'll be great. I
All
mean,
right,
we're
good.
really good at our jobs. It's the best beer in southeastern Pennsylvania. It's going to be fucking tasty.
You know, this,
But it's-
I was recently reading about the state of the movie industry and how sad it is. And
because of superheroes.
yeah, because everybody's making superheroes and reboots.
We're doing
But
the same thing
There are
with
people
beer.
who get a pass, and it was like an executive at Sony or something. There were these emails that got leaked or released or whatever, and they basically were like, Adam Sandler bought my house, so we're going to let him do whatever he wants. And I kind of feel like this is the same kind of vibe. Like these beers,
New England IPAs bought my brewery.
they bought your house. Like these are these.
Fuck my farmhouse ales. Fuck my barrels. All the stuff you were
dude.
in love with.
I'm in love with it. I love those styles of beer. I love working with them. Look, man, you know, you got to grow up sometimes, Peter Pan. Like we live in the market that we live in.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Fuck
what
capitalism.
it is. Fuck capitalism. You know, if the Soviet government was just paying me to do whatever I wanted,
It's not all bad. It's not all bad.
I don't
Seth.
wanna finish
Seth,
this
It's
now.
not all bad. When we resume the
This has
barrel
to last me
program, we're
forever.
going to be barrel aging marinara sauce for sheets, mozzarella sticks exclusively.
And
We're
Pop-Tarts.
ramping up to it. We don't do this
Barrel-aged
overnight.
Marinara Pop Tarts.
We call them meat tarts.
That's
You know, I
true.
think someday in the not too distant future, our entire podcast catalog is going to be
Jim.
a representation of the end of good beer.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
No.
New England style IPAs are great.
No, see, but everything's got to, hey, it's a cyclical type of thing,
But
right?
they're
Everybody
taking-
gets people fall in and out of love with all kinds of stuff.
and people.
What the hell happened to the Cosmo craze or the fucking cigar smoking
There was a
craze?
Cosmo craze?
I
Yeah,
still
what do you mean there was a
smoke-
Cosmo
I missed that.
craze?
I still smoke cigars.
What were you guys sitting at home watching reruns of Perfect Strangers or something?
Probably.
There was a
Listen,
fucking Cosmo
Balky
craze.
Balky is my homeboy. That could be a beer. Balky's my homeboy.
All right, Cousin Larry.
Yeah, right.
cousin Larry Appleton.
So realistically, when do you see the barrel age program being reinstated?
7 months, 2 days, 3 hours, and 14 minutes.
Wait, say
From
that again.
this
Say it again.
moment.
7 days,
Nope,
Seven-
it
seven
started
months.
with
7 months.
months.
So we're talking
Four
November.
days,
4
3
days.
hours, and 14 minutes.
November 10th at 11:42 p.m.
Say that
That's
again?
when we'll have
November
our next
10th.
substantive discussion about barrels.
November 10th.
So that's the next
11:42
step.
p.m.
That's the next step in the process. That's when That's when we've penciled in to talk about
I'm putting it in my
barrels.
calendar.
The barrels are going to go away for a while, and then we're going to tell people they're going to come back, but we're not so sure. Going to roll the dice.
We're going to roll the dice.
See what
Ask
happens.
how many people who are churning out barrel-aged beers if they could remain open if that were their only offer.
Well, I know you gotta do other stuff. Like, you can't just say, "Yep, this will be ready in a year. Come and get it then." Like, you got to have other stuff in the meantime. I understand,
Right,
that,
but then you get into that. But then you get into that argument about: do you do several things half as good as you could, or do you focus your efforts and do fewer things better? Right. So, if we have barrels and if we have barrels clogging up space we could use to increase efficiency in other areas, then you have to kind of get things in order, one thing at a time. This place is barely big enough for us. It is. A barrel program is a pretty ambitious use of space.
Well, you'll have a new place soon. You can just
Yeah, but that's not a
stack
brewing
the barrels
space.
over there. No, just
No,
take the
that's
barrels
not
over.
a. But that's
I
not
know, I know.
a storage location in
I
that
know.
sense of the word.
No, you're right, and I trust you guys. You're going to do whatever's best for you, and it's going to be awesome.
I feel like this
I'm
is
just
a breakup.
upset. I'm just upset.
Yeah.
So
I
are
feel like you're breaking up with me.
So the barrels that are over there now, are you
Why?
getting rid of them?
But Steph will always make your Pilsner that you love.
That's next, though. That's what I feel like.
No, the Pilsner's not going.
We're not going to have 12
First, they
taps of
came for my
IPA.
barrels, and I said nothing.
Even the IPA people will drink a flight and they'll try something else,
Yeah, they'll drink all
like a
4
stout.
IPAs.
Like a stout.
Yeah, they'll have a stout with pastry stuff in it, like pastry ingredients. That's
Listen, people want the
We're
trend
going to drink a
is
pastry stout today.
Running
the
Too.
overwhelming trend is people want to drink sweet things.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's just the bottom line. When distilled, people want sweet stuff, sweet booze. That's what they want now. And so, many gallons of the literal antithesis of that is not really helping our cause at the moment. And like I'm always saying, like, I love principles, but I love having a positive bank account way more. So
Well, and my philosophy
Positive
is
bank account.
when you're making things that people will buy a lot of, they can fund all the cool special projects you want to do. So I've always said, like, okay, we've got some stuff to do to be able to fund all the special projects.
That's probably the best answer I've heard.
Well, that's the thing. See, the problem is what makes it a business is the fact that you can like to do it. It becomes a business when you have to do things that you don't want to do, that are for the best, for the good of the business. Anybody that's sitting at it, oh, I really love brew, I'm so into it. That's great, but you'll go out of business if you're not running it, if you do not conduct and run yourself like a business.
Which takes us back to your IPAs.
yes, that's why they're there.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I mean, I know Kate likes hoppy beer, but me and Jim are really not super into the hop stuff in general. And Brendan's a goddamn beer geek, so he loves all of that stuff. He stands in line for 19 hours at other half and whatever, so he loves it.
So is that why you have this newfound... Well, it's not really new. You've been doing kettle sours for a while, but is kettle sours your answer to suspending the barrel program?
No, people like again, it's like the kettle sour has nothing to do with it, right? So the reason the barrel
But I mean,
program-
because those you can brew and put on tap, and they don't take up space.
Yes,
and
that's
time.
that's the issue. The issue is that, look, when I brew most beers, like even a lager takes like 4 weeks, and that's the hardest thing for us right now. So it's a good problem to have, but it is a problem. We are always in short supply of beer at this point, like kind of perpetually in short supply of beer. So that's great. That means we're doing well and the business is healthy. But what it means is every time I brew any batch of beer, if it takes longer, unless I'm really planning ahead, like a lager, if it takes longer than like 10 days from the brew day for that beer to be servable, then we're running, like we've got a blank spot on the tap list, or we're out of cans or something. So because there's only so many days in the week, because I'm not going back to 100-hour work weeks. I hated it. I was losing my mind. It was crazy. So we only have so many days in the week. We only have so many tanks. Even if we added more tanks, we wouldn't have more days in the week. So at a certain point, when the beer is brewed, we need to know that 10 days from the point that it's brewed, it's going to be servable outside of like a couple situations. So yeah, if I want to put a sour beer on, it's got to be a kettle sour. The other benefit to it is, frankly, customers of this kind of beer, as the industry expands, the palate becomes less complex, and people don't like complex flavors as much. I mean, there's not really like a more tactful way to say that. People like beers that are less complex more than they do the other way around, which wasn't the case 5 years ago, but it is now. So a kettle sour, flavor profile-wise, is much less challenging of a sour beer than something like a spontaneous or a long-aged Solera might be, you know? So even in the realm of sour, that kettle-soured Berliner Weiss with fruit in it is going to be way more appealing to customers than any kind of really cool thing that, like, me and you would get really excited about being... And it's just the reality of it. So that's kind of where our production is going. You know, we started out trying to be the French Laundry, and now we're like the coolest dive bar on the block or the coolest pizza shop on the block, and like that's because that's where business-wise we have to be. So we're just going to be the best one of those, you know.
Well, and I will say I respect that you kind of own that. Because I know I give you shit all the time
Yeah.
about it. That you said you never brew IPAs.
Oh yeah,
but-
we said a lot. I've said a lot of things through the years. When I was in like 6th grade, I said I was going to be a platinum rapper. Like,
Hey, it could still happen.
Hey,
I mean,
gold
it could
is not
still
bad,
happen.
though. He is a gold rapper, though.
But you own it, and I do agree. You know, you're like, well, if I'm going to brew these beers, at least I'm going to brew the best version of them that I know how, and I'm going to put my own spin on it, and I'm going to own it, and I definitely respect that. And as long as you still have at least one lager on, I will be here regularly and faithfully. And
we will have one lager on all the time, hopefully, or most of the time. We're not getting rid of the lager program. Lagers still sell. But
yeah, there is. Palates do change, and I feel like I've already gone through that hoppy phase, and you know, maybe I was on the craft beer bandwagon sooner than most, and maybe that's why I've already gone through that. And now I am craving, you know, more unique and complex things, but also at the same time, at the end of the day, Friday after work, give me a lager. That's what I want.
Yeah,
you know?
and I want to drink almost nothing but lagers, to be honest with you. But the what you call it?
He's going to get his other meatballs.
Yeah, that's important. You know, the other big thing is that when we were starting to drink craft beer, you know, when I was really starting to drink craft beer, like almost 10 years ago now, bitter was the thing, right? There was a whole like almost
couldn't be bitter enough.
Yeah, there was almost like a completely different flavor spectrum as to what people were looking for. So like my entire beer palate was developed where like sweet, like when a primary flavor note is just sweet, it really turns me off. And part of that is, I think, just because the preferences in beer were so hardwired into me before. Now you have a lot of beers being sort of like becoming the cool styles, the sought after styles, the blah 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 blah, that you know, sweet is the thing. So when you taste things that aren't sweet, you immediately write it off in your head. The same way that when I taste things that are noticeably sweet, before I'm even really thinking about what the flavors are, I'm going, this isn't a really good beer, because I've been working in beer for like 9 years at this point, and I spent 7.5 of those years like actively avoiding sweetness in everything, like working on like super high attenuation rates and like all this kind of stuff. And so it's still in my head when I taste a beverage that is sweet, the first instinct is to go, what is wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly, because that was a flaw.
Right. So and now it's the most prized flavor note.
Yeah, I think he did get his meatballs.
Jim, how are the meatballs?
Did you ever take one of those pisses like when Austin Powers is reanimated?
Yes.
That's what I did.
Actually, I really want meatballs now.
Head over to Wawa.
Wawa.
Or there's 4 in Jim's car.
There's 4. I have 4. You're welcome to them.
Hey, little kid, I got some meatballs.
That's about how it sounds.
What was the deal? There was an unmarked white van. Was it in Reading that was selling seafood out of the van?
Who buy seafood out
That
of a van?
was my question.
A very educated consumer. You can get great bargains.
That's where the best
They
seafood
can kind
comes
of
from.
skirt. The freshness is higher because they can skirt any type of inspections. Right? It's right from the ocean to your plate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right from the ocean to your plate.
Right from the Delaware to your plate.
Oh God! I don't
Or
want
the
to eat anything
Schuylkill.
from the Delaware or the Schuylkill.
right from the Schuylkill. Nice piece of fresh
Taste
fish.
of the Schuylkill.
Maybe you should invite that van to the brewery.
to the brewery.
Yeah,
it should be your
maybe
next
do
food
better
truck.
than a food truck. Fresh seafood.
I could do fresh.
But fresh
seafood.
has to be in quotes.
fresh.
Spelled with a PH.
Fresh from the Skook, spelled
Fresh.
Skook.
Fresh from the Skook.
So we grabbed another beer so we can drink it during Happy Fun Time
First
game.
of all, what are we
I
drinking?
know. So
We're-
get your 30-second elevator pitch of this beer and go.
This is the B-side. It's a black Patters beer. A Patters beer is a Belgian-style single, and we made it black.
And it's fucking delicious.
And it's
It is
fucking
really
delicious.
Cool. That was 10 seconds. In that case, hey Wayne, what do we got?
Holy Jesus. Cheers, Internet. And welcome to Happy Fun Times Games.
Fun's Times
Fun's
Game.
Happy's Fun's Times Games.
It's a guy named Happy.
A podcast segment that never phones it in today. We are playing everyone's favorite quintessential Happy Fun Time game, Libation or Fabrication, once again with all the real and fake beer names provided by our loving patron, James Lambert.
Oh, James.
So those of you who may not know, a while back, James, one of our wonderful patrons on Patreon, sent me a Google Doc full of funny, fake, and real beer names for me to use on the podcast because I am monumentally lazy. And he had a lot of great ideas. Little did I know, since the last time we did a game with all his names, he has continued to update this document. So there's several names in there that I never used the first time, but now there's even more. So this is, of course, once again, Libation or Fabrication, the James Lamberg edition. So, of course, this is the game in which I will give you the name of a beer, and you must tell me if that name is real or fake, and we will begin as the gods decreed to my left with Dan, and our
Yep.
first beer of the game is called Vegan Bacon. Is that real or fake?
Just like actual vegan bacon, fake.
Dan is saying fake. Jim, what do you think?
Real.
Saying it is real, Kate.
I think it's real.
Also saying real, Ethan.
Yeah, it's a real beer name.
Yeah, it's a real beer
no.
name. And finally, Steph.
I hope it's real and I want it.
So you're saying it's real?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Dan was the only one who was right.
Fuck all of you. I love you all. I'm sorry.
It is
That can be
fake.
your next smoked beer. Call it
It
vegan bacon.
is fake. And
That's a genius name.
That actually is a great beer name.
that is a pretty good beer name.
That's I always say. That's how I get my bacon.
Yeah,
But
and,
there
and
really is vegan bacon.
there really is vegan bacon, but it's not the name of a beer. One of the sort of themes of James's beer names, that the fake ones anyway, are they are inspired by things that we have said
Oh, God.
in the past on the
Oh,
podcast.
no.
So that's where vegan bacon came
We
from.
are so screwed.
And the funny thing is, I actually wrote in my notes, like actual vegan bacon, this beer is fake. Which is exactly what Dan said. Moving on to our next beer of the game, and Jim is going to guess first on this one, and this beer is called Free Candy. Is that real or fake?
I think I just say everything's real generally with this game, and then see what.
That's
real.
always my strategy
Yeah,
too.
just say
Fair
real.
enough. All right, saying it's real. Kate, what do you think?
I think it's fake.
Saying fake, Ethan.
I'm going to go with real.
Gonna go with real for 500, Bob.
I'm
Steph?
sticking with my strategy and saying real.
All right, another real, and finally Dan.
I'll go real.
Dan also going real. It looks like Kate was the only one who was wrong. Because it is, in fact, real. It is a 10.2% Belgian quad. Appropriate. We are drinking a single, and this is a quad, by Junkyard Brewing in Moorhead, Minnesota. Free candy is also, and this is according to James, what is advertised on the side of Dan's white van.
Wow, really, James?
I thought it was seafood.
Yeah, right.
The seafood van. That was
Fresh.
Fresh
seafood.
catch.
Seafood.
Fresh catch of the day.
It changes depending on the neighborhood.
It changes depending on the
Moving on, and Kate is going to guess first on this one, and the name of this beer is Australian Kiss. Is that real or fake?
I think it's real.
Saying it is real, Ethan.
It's got to be fake because I would hate anybody who made a beer.
All right, Ethan saying fake out of pure hatred.
Real.
Steph saying real. Could I just mark you down for real for the rest of the game and then you don't have to talk?
Pretty much.
All right, I'm going to do that. Dan.
He literally just did.
I will. Fake.
Dan is saying that is fake. Finally, Jim.
I'll say fake.
Also saying fake. The realsters are right.
Hey!
Yes.
It is in
God
fact
damn.
What's
real.
an
So-
Australian
It's
kiss?
the kiss.
It's got Australian hops in it, and they're being something I'm not going to say on a podcast.
would you
Of all the things you've already said
You
on
won't
several
say it.
podcasts,
That one will get you emails. I'm not going to say that one.
that one will get you emails. All right, fair enough. But
that's
I will
enough.
tell you who to direct your hatred towards. It is in fact a 5.5% ABV IPA from Florida's Seventh Sun Brewing.
Oh God, I've got
I've been
problems
there.
with them for a lot of reasons.
Oh, no.
It is indeed made with Australian Summer and Galaxy hops. Australian Kiss. It's like a French kiss, but down under.
oh my god.
It's like a friend.
You know he wanted to say that. That's why he picked it for the game. I knew it was going that
Isn't
way.
that also called like tossing someone's salad
I thought that was a BJ.
No, that's
with or without oil? Do you toss that salad with
the
or without
Cleveland
oil?
Steamer.
That's nowhere near the rectum.
Carolina reach around.
All right,
we're-
we're getting closer at least.
We're moving on
This
to
hand-
our,
with this
our next
ridiculous
beer of the game.
hand
Did you
job
just
crowd.
respond? You just responded to a Cleveland Steamer comment by saying that's nowhere near the rectum. I just want to go on the record as like,
Well, you talk about the Australian kiss from
well,
down
no,
under.
the Cleveland Steamer really involves the rectum pretty heavily, bro.
But only
is a
with
pretty-
the one party. Is
Yeah.
It's a pretty essential part of the whole operation.
Yeah, but I guess you're right. It's not being kissed. It's not.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, moving on. Ethan is going to guess first on this one, and this beer is called Pictures of People Trying to Sell Their Mirrors.
That sounds like
Is that a
stick-
Tired Hands beer?
It's like a Stickman beer name, honestly. Like, it sounds like a Stickman beer. Now, I'm gonna go with fake because I'm gonna use it.
All right.
I'ma use it.
Fake it's because he wants to move it. Steph, real. Dan.
Oh my god. Fake.
Dan is saying that is fake. Jim.
Fake.
Also saying fake. Kate.
I think it's real.
Ooh, Kate saying real. Kate and Steph are wrong. Because it is, in fact, fake. But it is a funny thing to Google.
There's a good one.
You should Google it.
I'd rather
So
not.
it is. So we are gonna have a Stickman. Pictures of people trying to sell mirrors.
So by the
IPA.
time this episode comes out, it might just be real. Moving on to our final beer of the game. And Steph, I know,
Real.
time flies. Steph is saying this is real. Tell me if you agree or disagree. This beer is called Smiley Poo Emojinator. Dan?
Real. Sure.
Dan is saying real, sure. Jim?
I'm saying fake because I need it to be.
All right.
So
need it
you
to
can
be
use the
fake.
name.
Because I
I
want to
need
believe.
this one to be fake.
I want to
guys.
believe in mankind once again. Kate.
I think that one's fake.
All right, saying that one is fake. And finally, Ethan.
That's gotta be fake.
Gotta be fake. It is not. It is real.
Hey!
It is real AF. It
Real
is, of
AF.
course,
My strategy work, bitches.
whatever you think about the rest of the name, of course, the suffix nader means it's a Doppelbock.
Yep.
And 8.4% comes from,
Of course, Nader.
course.
of course, nader.
Of course, a Nader.
Of
Ralph
course,
Nader.
a nader. Of course, a nader.
Does that mean Ralph Nader's a Doppelbock?
Yes.
I thought he was a consumer hero. He's a fucking
Also-
Doppelbock? I've been lied to all these years?
A
He
Doppelbock
moonlights.
Is there even really a fucking Ralph
A
Nader?
Doppelbock is the people's beer. If he was going to be anything,
That's
he
a very
would be
good point.
goddamn
What was
Doppelbock.
all this about?
It was about
That's a very good
seatbelt
point.
safety and beer and lager.
And lagering. Fine, I'm in. I bought back in.
Hold on, ready now. Seatbelt safety and lagering.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, and lagering. Okay, it's from Haymarket Pub and Brewery in Chicago. I do have a little interesting side note talking about emojis. So there are circumstances in which you have to reference emojis in which you can't actually have emojis natively displayed, such as in computer programming. So there are things called short codes that are used to represent emojis that are essentially words with a colon on the front and the back of it. All that is to say that the short codes for the poo emoji accepted across several programming languages and technology platforms are poop, shit, and hanky.
Hanky.
Mr. Hanky.
Yes.
The Christmas food.
So now we're going to add up the points real quick and see who our big winner is. And it looks like our runaway winner with 4 out of 5 points is Dan.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Did he have access to the Google
Yeah.
Doc?
Who could have fucking
Actually,
figured?
They
Who could have
both did.
figured?
They both did, but they never
fix is
looked.
in.
The fucking
This is
guy sitting right next to
hashtag
you.
fake results.
We operate on the
fake
honor
results.
system here at Beer Busters.
We do.
Goddamn bullshit.
These results were are scrutinized.
I said my answers before he even said the name, so don't even.
They were double and triple checked by
I'm
my
not
good
looking at
friend
you. I'm looking at Dan.
Vladimir. Coming in second place,
Don't.
a respectable showing. Your strategy paying off this time.
Yes.
As it usually does.
What a coincidence.
3 points
Oh, wow.
is Steph.
You guys even play
Instagram
this
this.
game if you fucking cheat the whole time.
Yeah, Instagram this
Oh, look,
motherfucker.
hey, look. And you're like Alex Trebek when you do it, when you say the fucking answer like you knew it the whole time. Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Except I did know it. I have it written down. I have known it the whole
Oh
time.
my God, you would
Like
be
you
the
had a
best.
native knowledge.
You would
Like
be
you had
the
a
best
native
Sean
knowledge.
Connery.
Sean
in that,
Connery?
Yeah, in the Trebek. Fuck you, Trebek.
no,
You're
it was
sitting on a
that
gold
Alka-
mine, Trebek.
It was The Rock. I tried to, and when he goes, "You're the man now, dog," they didn't go with me.
Jim and Ethan had 2 points, tied for third
Respectable.
place. If anybody still cares,
No one cares.
you haven't given up on this whole.
No one in my
sham.
family. They've already tuned out by now.
Kay was in last place, but at least had 1 point.
Yay.
So
No German sparkle party, though.
Yeah. After that controversy, this is, of course, the part of the podcast where we shout out to our most generous patrons on Patreon, people who keep the train running. And, of course, topping the list this time around, once again, is James Lambert.
Oh, my God.
I know, right? The rest of our most generous patrons include Eric Dixon, Joe Mansell, Nate Falkman,
As soon as you put it in your mouth, you totally get the banana.
Sloan Peterson,
I'm 3 for 3.
Brian Mills,
Wow, I like this beer.
Oak Brook Brewing Company,
No hashtags.
Wolfgang Von Colt,
Drugs.
Jen McDonnell, Bleep, Marilyn Engelman,
Ham sandwich.
Josh Price, Joing, Ron McDonnell,
It was the most amazing thing in my life.
and, of course, Victoria Miles.
Lawyered.
If you want to find out how you can get on this list and get other cool behind-the-scenes perks, including access to our exclusive bonus podcast, Last Call, you can go to patreon.com/beerbusters for all the details. We love you and will respect you till the end of time. Dan, what do we do now?
I think we got to pay our tab.
Let's pay our tab.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
This episode of Beer Busters is brought to you in part by Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is a Record of the Month club. It is the best damn record club, in fact. Every month, VMP features one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection and sends it to thousands of members worldwide. Artists include Betty Davis, Kevin Morby, Fiona Apple, Beck, Gorillaz, and I myself am the proud owner of a special marble copy of Weezer's Pinkerton. Thanks to Vinyl Me Please.
Which is a good album.
Which is a great album. Each record is pressed exclusively for VMP members with features you can't get anywhere else. Things like bonus tracks, inserts, colored variants, and comes packed with a 12x12 album-inspired art print and a custom cocktail pairing recipe. And they know that trusting someone else to curate your record collection can be pretty scary. And, of course, you've had your whole life to fine-tune your taste, and they certainly don't want to get in the way. That's why they feature swaps, where you can exchange a featured record with one from the VMP archives or a limited set of store titles. That way, even though you're trying new things, you won't be forced to take a title you already have or know in advance that isn't right for you. There's no contracts, no strings, no guilt trips, no fees, and you get top-shelf customer service to make sure you get the answers and help you need as soon as humanly possible. So if you want to sign up for VMP, which you will not regret, head over to joinvmp.com/beerbusters to sign up today. That is joinvmp.com/beerbusters. patreon.com/beerbusters.
This episode is also brought to you in part by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price. Obsessively engineered mattresses at shockingly fair prices. Start sleeping better today. You can try Casper for free for 100 days with free shipping and painless returns. To get $50 towards any mattress purchase, you can visit CasperTrial.com/beerbusters and enter the promo code 50SLEEP. Try Casper for 100 days. $50 towards any mattress purchase for Beerbusters listeners by visiting CasperTrial.com/beerbusters and use the promo code 50SLEEP. Terms and conditions apply.
No.
Your beers.
No. Know your beers.
Hey, Steph, what do we got?
I feel like at this point I'm beating a dead horse.
I'm writing that one down.
I was wondering what you were doing over there.
That is a good beer
Being
name.
a dead horse.
It's kind of
But
obvious.
I
though.
thought this was a fitting episode to point out that last month the Brewers Association released its 2018 beer style guidelines, and this release include a trio of beer styles identified in the guidelines, and a new trio, I should say.
Russian collusion. Once again.
Could be. But these three new styles are Juicy or Hazy Pale Ale, Juicy or Hazy IPA, and Juicy or Hazy Double IPA.
So, Ethan,
maybe you'll be getting another medal this year.
No, there's going to be 972. Well, first of all, we got 4 beers at the World Beer Cup, so we're going to be getting 4 new medals
4
pretty
golds.
soon. Yeah,
4 golds. So the Brewers Association received input from competition judges as well as brewers recognized for developing the styles to help shape the framework for these categories. And each category presents technical specifications and sensory aspects that a judge may use in competition to evaluate
He slammed
entries.
his phone down.
how much fucking input do you need?
Now
for
you
this
know how
one?
I felt when you said you were ending your barrel program.
How much? How much?
This is how you felt?
How much goddamn?
Now I know how you felt.
How much goddamn consultation do you need to outline the stipulations for a subcategory of a set of styles that already fucking exists?
You have to be a fucking professional,
So-
and you have to prove it to the world.
All 3 new styles have a lot of specifications that are exactly the same. Color in all 3 styles is listed as straw to deep gold, and the clarity is low
None.
to very high,
Blizzard conditions.
and degree of cloudiness is being typical. Starch, yeast, hop, protein, and other compounds contribute to a wide range of hazy appearance. All 3 styles also describe fermentation characteristics with low to medium fruity estery aroma and flavor presence. However, they're typically overwhelmed by hot fruitiness. All 3 styles also list perceived bitterness as low to medium. I feel like it should be very, very, very low to medium.
Very low to none at all.
And perceived impression, and the bitterness is also perceived as soft and well integrated into overall balance, and may differ significantly from measured IBU levels. There are some slight variations in the 3 styles. For the Juicy or Hazy Pale Ale, the perceived malt aroma and flavor is low to low medium, and the perceived hop aroma and flavor is medium high to very high, with attributes typical of hops from any origin. I feel like you can just put the most vague descriptors.
Well, that's
ever,
what
and
they
what's in
have
here.
to do with this fucking category. It's
Well,
just a
but
lot
the-
of bullshit.
The crazy thing is, though, like, it's actually the opposite, though, because you could just straight up write a beer that would have gotten you fired for releasing 5 years ago, brewed with Citrus, Simcoe, and Mosaic. Like, they're making it so goddamn vague because it's the same thing. Everybody's got to justify brewing it, but the fact of the matter is, whatever. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole again.
So the mouthfeel for pretty much across the board is medium low to high. Perceived silky or full mouthfeel may contribute to overall flavor profile. So, and overall, finally, all 3 styles also add a caveat that grist may include a small amount of oat, wheat, or other adjuncts to promote haziness, and descriptors such as juicy are often used to describe the taste and aroma, hop-derived attributes present in these beers. So, to summarize, because I'm sure that you have a few things to say, I'm sure there are a lot of people that love these styles of beer and love brewing these styles of beer that are excited to see these in the guidelines. And sure, I think it's fair that they should be able to compete and possibly earn medals. But I was interested to see these guidelines, but I was extremely disappointed to see that there's not much here.
There's nothing.
It's just a big range of low to super high and could be anything and juicy. And that was about it. I was kind of disappointed that
It seems like their
there wasn't
strongest
more.
stance is on what the color could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah,
that's what it
straw
is,
to
like-
deep gold.
like-
yeah, that's
and-
that's
but-
the most
Even that is
detailed.
a huge range. Like, even that is actually
What was
a
the range
huge
of the
range.
clarity?
Low to very high.
Low to very
So,
high.
like-
yes,
but there-
low
it's-
to very high degree of cloudiness.
but the category is literally called juicy or hazy.
Yeah. So usually in a competition brewing, right? Like when you're thinking about which beers to submit for a medal and you're looking at style guidelines.
Usually they're very specific.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
anytime you see a category that says low to very high in like a single thing means they're not judging on that thing.
Right.
Right? And so like when you send a beer to like the experimental beer category and it says bitterness low to very high because it's like subjective for the beer because you're sending a million different types of things. This is like God damn
So
it.
they want a beer that's low malt, high hops,
And nothing else.
silky, and no perceived bitterness.
But so, like, let me ask you this question. Silky is another, like, really generic term. Like, would you ever want to drink a beer with an abrasive mouthfeel?
I enjoy shards of glass in my beer.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
then
I'm with
can I
you.
recommend
Like-
Stella?
like every time you describe
Goldschlager.
the body of a beer and you use some kind of just, like, general pleasant sensation to describe it, I don't like, that's a cop-out, too, I think.
General pleasant sensation.
General pleasant sensation. Gotcha.
On the list. I don't know. And I don't want to beat a dead horse because I think
I
our
do.
listeners
I
know
do.
our feelings on it and your feelings on it. And I guess I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know. I felt like this was the chance to really, I don't know. I don't say anything that's going to piss people
Attach some kind of professional integrity to
yeah,
this
exactly.
thing that we're all
I
doing
did.
now.
Bring some legitimacy to this beer style, and it's like I don't know. It's just the most general guidelines for a beer style that I've ever seen, and I was actually kind of shocked.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's probably the shortest Know Your Beers in history.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it had to be recognized because obviously it's fucking everywhere. And it's like one of those things where like it had to be recognized, but like
I just gotta stress this again. Nobody in the beer industry is happy about making these beers.
Yeah.
Like none of the breweries that they consulted everybody's happy about getting paid to make these beers. Nobody's happy that these are if you're really basing the style guidelines on the descriptions of a bunch of exasperated brewers who can't even put out a stout without 6 specialty ingredients in it anymore. Like, yeah, they're going to be pretty vague about what it is because nobody is like super excited that this has become like the 80% of the beer market on our side of the industry. Nobody is like super into it. So like it doesn't surprise me that they clearly didn't put a lot of effort into setting a style guideline.
Who was the first one to
hop
brew it?
farms are pretty happy about
The
it.
hop
Yeah,
farms are
that's true.
ecstatic. They are loving
Not
it.
the small hop farms.
no.
The big hop farms. Who was the first one to brew this style?
I don't know. I mean, you could debate it over it. Like a lot of people will debate it. I think that there's I know about all like the precursors, right? So you have a bunch of breweries that I think are still doing like a lot of like really thoughtful stuff and not sort of succumbing to the same thing over and over again, even though they're making a lot of the same beers. Like Maine Brewing Company and The Alchemist around the same time, with Hetty and with Lunch and then with Dinner, released these beers where they just like made no attempt to clean them up. And that was like the haze look, and everybody really liked it. But those beers, like, Hetty blows my mind that it's still popular because Hetty is bitter as shit. Like, Hetty is a really bitter, like, on a blind taste, I guarantee you that a lot of the only New England IPA drinkers would say that Hetty was terrible. Like, hashtag drain pour it, terrible, because it's so bitter. And so is...
Hashtag dumping Hetty.
Yeah, and so is Dinner from Maine Brewing Company. But I think of those as, like, the the originators of the style, and then like, you know, it just kind of go down the rabbit hole with it. I guess Lawson's is pretty early in the game as far as making like the non-bitter shit, like, but even they are, you know, we're doing something like a little. It wasn't like the heavy sweetened stuff. Like Sip of Sunshine is also like relatively bitter. So I don't know. I think there was a progression, but I think those three are the dudes. I could be wrong. You're going to get some emails. The New England IPA people get pissed.
Oh, I don't think they listen to our podcast anymore.
Oh, that's true though.
But I also found it interesting that the categories to describe them, like this, it used to be what appearance, aroma, flavor, mouthfeel, overall. Those but now they have this perceived malt aroma and flavor, perceived hop aroma.
That's
malt
the language.
Body. They're separating into more categories, which I found interesting.
That's the language that the Brewers Association has always used for like the commercial competitions.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I think that the BJCP just adopted the Brewers Association language for this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we drink a stout now?
We talk about something else.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
Here we are.
We
made it this far.
We did make it this far,
Round
and
2.
you made it this far too. Thank you for listening this far, Joe Man.
Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, they won't hear the apology though. That's the thing.
No, I'm sorry that you made it this
Oh,
far.
I thought you meant you're sorry if you didn't make it this far because they already tapped out. Anyway, this came out of a can,
This got way too meta, way too fast.
and it's a really dark beer.
It's called Stack That Cake.
Stack that cake.
It's got vanilla and cocoa nibs.
I'm quite all right with all of that.
It's an imperial stout.
This looks heavenly. What's its ABV?
8.1.
Oh, that's not terrible.
That's not too bad.
tasty.
I was afraid it was going to be double digits. It is pretty good.
Would you say
It's
it's,
like
the
ice
best
cream. Oh, my
pastry stout in southeastern Pennsylvania?
I would.
Yeah.
The best pastry stout.
I know I've seen you say it many times on Instagram.
Can I
I
make it?
unabashedly can say that it is by
Well,
far the
yeah.
best pastry stout in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Can I make a?
define southeastern Pennsylvania.
All of Pennsylvania.
I thought you were going to say all of the world.
Most of the Mid-Atlantic.
Fair
The
enough.
universe.
Can I make a slight suggestion?
Yeah.
This would be great in a fucking barrel.
Yo, it really would, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that'd
it
be
would.
delicious
Yeah, it'd be
in a
great.
barrel.
Man.
I wonder if you can find another brewery to hire me.
I love this. This is great. This is so fucking fantastic.
This is right up your alley, Dan.
Right
it would
up
be
my
more
alley.
up your alley if it was barrel aged.
I'll just dump some whiskey in and
take
call it a
your
day.
pick. Do you want it one of our white or red wine barrels?
You can have it for $50 and then age it yourself.
I don't have $50.
It's a furniture barrel.
I think I was right. While Steph was away using the facilities, I said to these guys, I think Steph's going to quit the podcast after tonight.
Mike's down. She's sitting back.
She's
relaxing.
leaning back, enjoying this beer. Probably one of the last times she'll have a beer like this at Stickman.
What do you think about this beer, Steph?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
It's too fucking sweet.
It is really. It is really.
Goddamn
so
right
sweet.
it is.
It is
I'm like,
really.
I wish this was still the Patter's beer. That-
Did you,
I
did
like
you,
it.
did you
Pretend.
miss the part where we said pastry stout?
Did
I'm
you miss
just
the
being
part?
honest.
Did you? This is what we're doing now. We're being cool kids now, Steph.
I
This
feel
is
like Ethan's saying we just don't want you at our brewery anymore.
No, we want
Get the
you.
fuck out,
We
Steph.
want you to get with the fucking program.
That's what I
is
feel like
we
is
want.
No, we're
happening.
saying relax, chill out, have a yoo-hoo like the rest of us. Have a yoo-hoo. We're all having a fucking good time. Chill, Steph.
Yeah, just
Come on.
relax. Like I mean,
Call this yoo-hoo for grown-ups.
This would make a good float.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, put some like French vanilla ice cream in this.
yeah, it's nice, right?
I get it,
Yeah,
yeah.
super.
You know what you
dessert.
do? You
Yeah.
put you pour you let
Here's
this
the thing,
get
like-
room temperature and you pour this over the French vanilla. You don't
That'd
make
be
a
pretty
fucking
good.
float out of it. This
Or
is
you
nifty
like
50s.
boil it and reduce it down to a syrup.
You don't really have to boil it to. It's
It's almost there already.
It's already a
if
syrup.
this
It's
was
gotta
a
get warm.
BJCP rating under body, it would say
Syrup.
high to excessively high.
Yeah.
I, for one, enjoy it. I feel
It
like
is a
I
Dan
actually
I
beer.
feel like
really-
I'm alone
It's a
in
Dan
this.
beer.
I
No,
actually really
I
like
like
it.
it,
I
actually.
like it too.
Jim
here's
dumped
the thing.
out the Patter's beer to have this.
Well, that I don't
think
agree
he's
with.
on your side.
The Patter's beer was fucking
Yeah, but I
banging.
had to make a choice.
However,
I can't just keep
You
drinking all
chose
night.
poorly.
If I'm
what
gonna
you should
have-
have done is you should have given me the Patter's beer.
It's in this glass. You can
It's
yeah,
right
but
there.
it's mixed with something else.
No, all he dumped in there
You
was
can
Patter's
have
beer.
more Patter's beer. I mean, that's not a problem.
Is
We
it
got a
just
lot of
is
it.
it just Patter's beer?
It's in that glass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's a dry beer, so like it'll
I'll
be on
trade you.
tap forever.
Can you reach and give me that?
The Patter's beer might be the only beer on tap that doesn't have lactose in it right now.
We're thinking of doing an
That's
IPA
it.
bar.
It's all
You know
over.
what we're going to do?
It's all
Oh
over.
yeah, this is the greatest idea.
We're doing
ever.
an IPA bar coming up. We're going to make a generic base IPA.
a West Coast style.
A West Coast style. And do
But you
like,
can't tell
like,
people it's West
No,
Coast.
listen, this is a great idea.
Now, do
So
you
we're
mean like
taking the
like
IPA.
bar,
Hold
like
on, let
sit
him
and have a
finish.
drink, or bar like protein bar?
No. You follow
and,
it.
yeah. So, like when you go to a diner and you're having breakfast and they have the creamer and the coffee and sugar, we're going to have sitting in front of you a bowl of lupulin powder so you can add it. We're going to have different types of fruit adjunct preserves so you can make your heavy
Just like
fucking
Smucker's,
marmalade
but-
beer. And then we're going to have a nice thing of lactose so you just heap spoonfuls of it in. You can make a nice sweet beer. If you're lactose
Anyway.
tolerant, you'll be fine.
Dude,
if you're not,
this
you
could
won't.
take off. It is like
Yeah.
coffee.
But
People
this-
love putting shit in their coffee.
They like
Yeah.
putting stuff in it.
Yeah, this is a real idea. Is we just brew like an IPA that we might actually be proud of, and then give you all the shit to shit it up with.
Give you the tools to succeed, we like to say.
Tools to succeed.
When we talk about our clients, we like to give them the tools to succeed.
It's like a consultation type of situation.
It's like a consultation, but with a fee. It's not free.
God.
So if you've lasted this long and you still want to actually come to Stickman,
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
That would not be your best
you
move.
can go,
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it at all.
you can find them at Stickman Brews on Facebook or at Stickman Brews on Instagram. They're not on fucking Twitter. They don't do that shit.
Well, we do have a Twitter account, but
But
we
you
haven't
don't do
posted in
anything with
2
it.
years.
You don't do anything with it.
No.
Sounds
their
about right.
Instagram page is probably the place to go because they post some fun videos.
Oh, dude, the Insta, that's where we're at.
The
We're
Insta.
on the Insta.
They're on the Insta.
Yeah.
So watch
Hashtag
for
grand.
their can releases so you can come and wait in line for this great
We
John.
don't have lines. We don't. We do. That's
It's a lot of
real-
people coming and
Well,
going, but it's not necessarily
Yeah,
a line
that is
per
a
se.
promise we have kept. There
The
are no
ramp
lines
leading
here.
up to the door is perfect for a line, though.
Yeah, but there are no goddamn lines, and we will make fun of you if you come here too early to wait in line. I will stick my head out and I will say, loser!
So if you want to be made fun by Ethan, come and wait in line.
Which is maybe as a treat. I don't know.
It might be a treat.
I think it's a treat. I think it's
Light bondage and being made fun of by Ethan, the brewmaster.
A little light flagellation.
Wait, where did the
You
bondage
could
come
charge
into play?
extra for that.
I know. It's what I'm
And
saying.
meatballs from Jim.
Hey,
And
Jim.
fresh
Do the
Jim's
meatballs
meatballs.
with cake.
Do the meatballs?
You can make
Jim- Jim's balls in your mouth and Ethan spanking you.
Meatballs and bondage Tuesdays.
It's a family. It's a family affair. you
It's
know?
tough to get people in on a Tuesday.
You're not
You gotta
open
know.
on Tuesdays.
That's why it's tough to get people in.
Haven't done anything with my balls. Maybe we will.
My balls have nothing to do on Tuesday.
And if you'd like to get a delicious meal, check out Tony Joe's House of Good Eats in Bucktown,
Do that.
Pennsylvania.
I love that name.
And
House
enjoy
of Good
the
Eats.
Stickman
Wait,
Brews
good
while
eat,
you're
was
there.
it Good Eats or Great Eats? I thought it was Great Eats.
Great Eats.
Oh,
Great. They're not just
fuck.
good. They're not
great.
just good. They
I
are
wrote
good.
it-
They're
For real though,
I wrote it
they're,
down incorrectly.
they're excellent. Anthony, the chef over there, catered a private event of ours, and we had a chance to taste some of like the higher end stuff, and it was incredible. I had a cheesesteak over there the other day. I live in cheesesteak country in South Philly, and this cheesesteak was like the cheesesteak. It was so good. They make delicious food. We make Southeastern Pennsylvania's best beer. It's an excellent combination. Go and check it out.
And they have really awesome looking specials that they post on their Facebook page. So.
They got wild boar ribs tomorrow.
There's a bold claim about that cheesesteak.
It is the cheesesteak.
I need to get there.
Yeah, get over there.
All right.
Capital T.
Capital T. Yes, I don't know what that means, but all right. And while you're
while you're capital T-ing.
well, no, we're wearing cheesesteak's capital T, but is it
The
like,
cheesesteak.
The, it's the okay.
Yeah, capital T,
I thought
the.
you just meant the word like cheesecake, cheesesteak. We're
last call's
we're drinking
gonna be
a-
fun.
We're drinking a pastry beer, cheesecake,
Cheesecake.
right? You should make a cheesecake beer.
That's an idea that Jim has floated. I don't know how you would do it.
You're smart. You'll figure it out.
I'm not smart. Don't
You're
tell me
smart.
that.
I kind of feel like if you just mix these two, It would kind of be a cheesecake.
That would be nice.
Touche.
Yeah.
I think he just solved the problem.
If you mix a New England style double IPA and a pastry stout, I think you'd be right there.
You would be.
Yeah.
You'd be in
You've already done 90% of the work.
Cheesecake country.
Just tweak the rest.
If you can't name
Capital
it one
Q
of those
cheesecake.
two styles, who will buy it?
Just broke my
If
pen.
But if it's both of those styles, who won't
No,
buy
it's
it?
not. It's not. It doesn't work that way.
No, I
you give
think
them
he's
too
right.
many things, and they don't like that either.
I know what I'm trying in last call.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, while you are looking at Stickman on the Insta, don't forget about us at
Graham,
Beerbusters.
Instagram.
Well, you said the Insta earlier.
Yeah, you don't get to.
Oh!
That's our word. Our word. You get to have it.
Wow.
Oh!
All right. I'll call it the Gram then. How about that?
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
You can check out Stickman on the Insta and Beerbusters on the Gram. And, of course, we do have a Twitter that we fucking use at Beerbusters.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, fuck your ratings in the ear.
Well, there's also Facebook.com or in the searchy bar thingy at Beerbusters Podcast, beerbusterspodcast.com. 805-991-BEER. You know the shit.
805-991-2337.
There you go. He remembers more than beer. I think.
Don't
That's
forget Patreon.
Patreon.
Well, we need to end this
Patreon.com/Beerbusters. So you can hear last call because it's going to be a fucking shit show. But here we
Unfortunately, my
are.
friend.
This brings us to
You
the
better
end.
bring us something good for last call. That's all I got to say.
Something out of a barrel, maybe?
You made me drink a New England IPA and a pastry stout.
I would like to say thank you for having us
Another
out here
IPA.
again. It's been a blast. I really like the pastry beer. It's perfect and dark and sweet, just like my soul.
Well.
Yeah. Seriously, for anybody who hasn't been here or you just want to get back here, come out to Stickman. It's a great time. And of course, don't forget Tony Joe's House of Great Eats. Well, I'm Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist.
Steph Hefner.
And of course, the demented and fermented
Cans of white out.
See you next time.
Cans of white out. Cans of white out.
I've never seen Steph so unhappy.